me like you do, and hold 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 me
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone? It's good to see you guys. Good morning, Margie. Good morning, the boss lady. Good morning, Sarah, Alicia, Kez Chick, been a minute, babe. Violet, Tasha. I don't know why you weren't getting notifications, Tasha. That's poppycock. I'm to write a stronger word letter to the YouTubes. I don't know. Sometimes it's weird. You gotta unsubscribe, resubscribe. I don't think unsubscribing and resubscribing works. I think sometimes you have to just go back and move the notifications. Like you have to hit personalized and then hit all, and it usually updates. I don't know. Yeah, I have been going live every single morning since last week, all day till 2:00 in the afternoon, covering the Todd Mullis bench hearing for his post-conviction relief. Yeah, so every morning. So hey, call me Sadie. Call me Sadie says, now this is irony. I made a comment on a Facebook post and someone questioned whether I have ever read the Bible. Lori Vallow is saving me from forgetting that I am Christian and respond negatively. Goodness, goodness, goodness. Well, Allie should be along momentarily to do this with me. Hey, Wolfie number 4. Oh, put your eyeballs back in your head, Wolfie, and say hi. Good to see you, babe. So, hey, Neat Noodle, good to see you too. You turned off all your notifications? Oh, well, maybe that's why you weren't getting notified. I'm not sure why you would turn off the notifications for me, but okay. Hey, Allie, there she is. As soon as you can, babe. Hey, Lucid Dreams, good morning. I'm going to watch for a little bit before bed, but we'll definitely watch the replay later at work. Just wanted to say hello. Oh, okay. I didn't. All right, Wolfie. Oh. Okay. No, I had to turn them off, then back on. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let me highlight this. I know that Woofy is kidding. This is Woofy. This is her sense of humor. She's incredibly sarcastic, and but I better highlight this so that anybody watching on the replay knows that I know that Woofy is kidding. I was kidding when I said, "Oh, okay, Woofy." So they love each other, but I mean, I know that Woofy loves a few people, but I'm just gonna tell you guys, Woofy loves me best. I mean, how could she not? Have you met me? I'm an effing delight. Just kidding. I don't think she loves me best. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little about what's on the agenda for today, okay? And so I went over to Justin Lum's posts on the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. here are some case documents from what's going to happen today. If I could only figure out what I'm doing. Let me share my screen. Yes. So, okay, here we go. So basically, this was filed March 6th, 2025 at 11 a.m., 16 a.m. All right. So the defendant supplemental rule 15.2 notice of defenses and disclosure. The defendant submits the following supplemental disclosure pursuant to Arizona Criminal Code of Procedures 15.2. The defense notices the following defenses: insufficiency of the state's evidence, B, self-defense, C, defense of others, D, third party at fault, E, mere presence, F, procedural. All right. And this is who she intends to call. Any and all individuals, including but not limited to victim assistance caseworkers and or volunteers who have spoken with any witness in this case. All witnesses listed in this, let me go back because I think A is on this right here. Yes, the defense notices the following witnesses. All right. All witnesses listed in the state's Rule 15.1 disclosure, as well as any supplemental witness disclosure filings. The custodian of records for any and all exhibits. E, Nate Eaton, all of these people. She spelled Summers' last name wrong. It's Shiflett. The defense notices the following documents, photographs, and objects that the defense intends to use at trial. Any item disclosed by the state, insufficiency of state's evidence. So these are the motions Ms. Vallow intends to argue today, along with the arguments on Court TV live stream broadcast, motions regarding statements by Tylee Ryan and Alex Cox, trial schedule, jury selection. So let's talk a little bit about what the rule of 15.2 is, okay? Because I was a little confused by what Lori is up to. Specifically, how you're going to use, oh, cripes, I didn't mean to do that. Shoot, I wonder if I can. No, of course not. I was curious about what she's up to. Like, is she trying to say that these are going to be her defenses: self-defense, insufficient evidence, defense of others, third party, responsible, blah, blah, blah? Is she going to use all of those? So I went and looked up what the rules and procedures, what this specific is, what this is specifically. Rule 15.2, the defendant's disclosure. Physical evidence. A, generally at any time after the filing of an indictment, information, or complaint, and upon the state's written request, the defendant must, in connection with the particular offense with which the defendant is charged, A, appear in a lineup, B, speak for identification by one or more witnesses, C, be fingerprinted, palm printed, foot printed, or voice printed, D, pose for photographs not involving a reenactment of an event, E, try on clothing, F, permit the taking of samples of hair, blood, saliva, urine, or other specified materials if doing so does not involve an unreasonable intrusion of the defendant's body, G, provide handwriting specimens, and H, submit to a reasonable physical or medical inspection of the defendant's body, but such an inspection must not include a psychiatric or psychological examination. 2, presence of counsel. The defendant is entitled to have counsel present when the state tests evidence under this rule. C, other procedures. This rule supplements and does not limit any other procedures established by law. This is the part we're talking about here. Notice of defenses. Are you seeing this? Yeah. Okay. 1. Generally, by the deadline specified in D, the defendant must provide written notice to the state specifying all defenses the defendant intends to assert at trial, including but not limited to alibi, insanity, self defense, defense of others, entrapment, impotency, marriage, insufficiency of a prior conviction, mistaken identity, and good character. So, this is why Lori had put all of those in her disclosures. Obviously, she didn't use insanity, alibi, entrapment, impotency, marriage, um, mistaken identity, and good character. She left those out. She used self defense and defense of others. So those are things that she intends to bring up during her trial. Those are going to be her defenses. She also used the insufficiency of a prior conviction. So I'm imagining that what Lori is going to argue is Idaho got it wrong, and by extension, Arizona got it wrong too. All right, witnesses. For each listed defense, the notice must specify each person other than the defendant that the defendant intends to call as witnesses at trial in support of the defense. She's going to call those people in support of her defense. She's got to provide all this stuff. The experts, the experts that the defense intends to call, the name and addresses of all the people that she intends to call. So this is all of that. Plus, she's going to be arguing about she does not want court TV in the courtroom. Now, I don't know if it's court TV specific. It's at, I think, so if it says 8:30 Arizona time, court TV is scheduled to go live at 9 my time, which would be 10 East Coast time. So, yeah. So we got a little bit, but I wanted to have an opportunity for people to get notified. I wanted an opportunity for Allie to have time to come up here and all of those things before we get started. So I just wanted to chill with you guys for a little while before we get into it. Also, hold on a second. Let me see something really quick. Hold on. So also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Dateline, something that I forgot yesterday, but I kind of want to wait for Allie to get up here to talk about that because I think it's better if we do it together. But let me just say, in general, this is how I felt about the things that she said during her Dateline interview. All right, here we go.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Sorry, DB. The hearing is scheduled for 8:30 a.m. Arizona time. We just had daylight savings, so that would be 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. There we go. I mean, it's the things that she said in that Dateline interview were ridiculous, and they weren't new, by the way. So a lot of what she said in that interview, she also said in that phone call that she did with Colby, which Colby played on his channel. I've thought about like covering that call or whatever and playing a little bit of it. but I must confess, and I still need to think about it a little bit. Hold on, who is this? Oh, it's Allie. Hold on. There she is. Hey, Allie.
Hey,
Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Hello. How are you?
I'm checking out on the self checkout, but I heard you say, but I wanted to wait for Allie, so I was like, okay, I'm coming now. You can deal with the self checkout noises. I'm sorry. I'm here.
I don't want to get no comments on the replay about
Yes.
Allie's background noise because she's graciously early to talk with us, and we're just going to deal with it. So I don't want to hear nothing on no comments on the replay about background noise. Your MVP card. I just enjoy Allie being here, so we're just going to roll with it. Okay.
Yay. Thank you. Well, I'm
You're
almost
welcome.
done now too.
Okay. So, this Dateline situation. Okay. Allie and I were talking about this earlier this morning, and I was telling Allie that one of the things that I forgot to tell you guys yesterday is who also made an appearance in that interview. Melanie Shebangs Gibb. Man, I'm so tired of Melanie. I have had enough of Melanie. Listen, Melanie, stop playing with these people out here. I don't give a rat's fat kneecap how many interviews, how many platforms, how many anything you haul your cookies on to spew your story. Okay. What irritated me the most about this particular time that she did it is that she's talking about Lori and Chad's belief system, but she's scoffing at it as if she never believed it. You need to stop playing with these people, girl. You did believe in it. You did all the things. You were in the circle of trust. You were doing the chanting, the casting, all the things. Stop playing with these people, Lori. I mean, Melanie, I've had enough of you. Okay. I've had enough of you. Now, I know that Lori gave you that bad haircut and she gave it to you on purpose. I know she did. You know she did. We all know she did. And I tried to extend a little bit of grace because it's really hard to walk around for an extended period of time with a bad haircut. I get it. Okay. But the grace has ended long ago. You did believe all of those things. And what's more, ma'am, because of you, Lori and Chad had a head start. You knew damn right well that lying to the cops when they called you that first time was the wrong thing to do. And P.S., do you really think God would choose two lying liar mouths who tell lies to collect the 144,000? Does that even make reasonable sense to you? Isn't one of the commandments about not bearing false witness, which is a lie? That's what that means.
And let's be real here. It was because of the Arizona case that we even knew about her little immunity deal that we know about now, that I believe is probably her and Zulema.
Yes.
So maybe we'll hear more about that today, or you never know. I mean, I didn't expect it to come out the first time in there.
So G14 Classified says the Melanie Gibb part was from an older interview. It wasn't new. I don't recall the Johnny Cash interview. And the reason I refer to it as the Johnny Cash interview is because she's dressed all in black. Although I don't remember that outfit is what I don't remember. The setting, I remember that part. Like it does seem like I remember her sitting in a higher chair, but I don't remember the Johnny Cash outfit. I really don't. I can't, but I'm just going to say this, whether it was new or whether it was old, it doesn't even matter to me at this point. I can't stand no Melanie Gibb. I have had enough of her. I'm sick and tired of, I think all the Melanies should be charged.
Yeah,
Yes,
same.
Melanie P, I'm looking at you too, Shug. You should be
Oh.
changed. You should be charged as well.
Me too, looking right at her, especially because we're about to get into Lori being charged for the attempted murder of her husband. She's involved.
Correct. Because let me ask you this. It's not like Lori and Brandon Boudreaux were once Melanie P moved to Idaho, and all that. It isn't like Lori and Brandon were, buds, and they were there were conversations and they kept in communication. So let me ask you this, Melanie P. How is it that Lori D knew where Brandon was? How would she even know where to send Alex in the first place? What was Alex just driving around all over Arizona's, Hell's Half Acre looking for him? And he just happened to find him? Come on. Ridiculous. This is what I'm looking for too. Forward to G14 classified. I believe she's now divorced. And honestly, I'm looking forward to Lori going after her on the stand. Yes. That's like going to
Yeah,
be my favorite part.
she's definitely divorced. She married Ian, very quickly, but at the time it was her husband, and they were in the middle of separating. Do you think that do you think Lori will go after her on the stand, Jen?
Do I think Lori will go after Melanie P?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say this right. Lori has no shame in her game. None. And from the little that they actually put in of her speaking in this interview on Dateline, she still very much is delusional in that she feels that she's being not prosecuted, persecuted. She still has a persecution complex. And I think that, quite frankly, she blames all of these people, that they are turncoats, that all she wanted to do is make a path for them to be part of the 144,000 who would ascend, who would be God's chosen, right? And it's like she vouched. It's like she vouched for them to get into the club, to bypass the wait line. They just that she put them on the list, and how damn dare they act like this? Ingrates, all of them. Yes, I absolutely think she's going for them at trial.
She probably damn does feel that way.
She's like, man, I vouched for y'all's asses. I put you on the list, and here you are acting a straight fool and ungrateful. Fuck all y'all. You're all going down.
You can't tell me that she was trying to kill Brandon and Melanie moved down and moved in her exact apartment complex with her, and she wasn't involved. So I gotta say, if I was Lori, I'd probably be kind of pissed too that here I am facing the court and you're not.
Right. How come it is that how come it is you're not catching any charges? I did this for you, ho. I was Lori.
Exactly.
Think about it. Lori would not have been the beneficiary of Brandon Boudreaux's life insurance.
Exactly. What would she have gained?
Nothing. She had nothing to gain from taking Brandon Boudreaux out. Nothing. The only person who gained from Brandon Boudreaux being removed from this earth is Melanie P.
There's a country phrase we used to say back in West Virginia in my day, and that was, well, there you are. There you are. And it fits perfectly.
Helen says, I would be mad with them eyebrows too. Hey, look here. That's karma. For how she gave Melanie P or Melanie G that awful haircut. That's why she's got them eyebrows now. That's payback. That's the universe being like, all right, you made Melanie Gibb walk around with that horrible, it literally looked like she put a salad bowl on top of Melanie's head, but angled, right? So it was shorter in the front and longer in the back, right? Because she gave her them horrible bangs. They weren't blended at all. and then she just cut around that bowl.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all. And let me ask you, like, how did you think Lori looked? Because wow, she's changed a lot.
Well, that's what happens when you don't keep the fillers filling. Okay, they're not permanent. I mean, to me, honestly, what it looks like is the inside is the who Lori actually is as a human being, the evil that lurks inside of her, that lives inside of her, is now coming out of her pores, and she's
Yeah.
aging like fucking milk.
Oh yeah. She does not look good. I couldn't get over that. And she still thinks she's just the way she talked to Keith. You can see that she's trying to like charm and manipulate him. You know what I mean? But no, lady, you don't have it anymore.
No, you don't. And Lori, listen, just between us two and the 70 other people that are in this chat and anybody that's going to be hearing it on the replay. Now, I love a bold lip. I do. But ma'am, we are women of a certain age. Okay? And you know that you're not getting good skincare regime material in the clink. The bold lip with the hot Cheeto dust and Vaseline is not good. Now, I would suggest you try to get that purple bag of Skittles that has that light pink Skittle in it. I think it's strawberry banana.
The wild berry?
Yes.
You mean the
Yeah, the purple bag, whatever that is. I don't like that one. I'm an original flavored person. But mash that lighter pink up and use that with the or maybe try to get yourself some pink lemonade Kool-Aid packets and use that. Something. But that bold red lip ain't it. And for the love of Pete.
try to get a nude. But you know, well, shit, she's not in prison. I keep thinking she's in prison.
Clink.
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
She's in the clink.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
for the love of Pete, what? I interrupted something good. I know
showing up in court looking like some type of mix of the Cowardly Lion and a fucking Shih Tzu. Stop doing that. That mini high ponytail on top of your head looks ridiculous. You look like the Cowardly Lion and a Shih Tzu. That's what you look like. After he's been to Oz and had his hair did. That's what you look like. Stop doing that. It's ridiculous.
Somebody put whoop, there it is, and that's basically what that there you are means. It's like
there you are.
There you are.
See, I'm thinking, nope, not today, that a strawberry Jolly Rancher might end up, when you melt it out, might just be a little bit too dark. That's why I'm suggesting the pink lemonade, Kool-Aid packet, because that's a softer pink.
Side note, apparently, well, you can. I was going down a journey of like candy and stuff on TikTok, and you can use those Jolly Ranchers in the microwave and melt them completely into like a liquid.
Oh.
So, well, yeah, but I guess, I mean, they could use that, but then it would get hard again once it cools off. But people were doing it and dipping fruit in it and then letting it like get hard like a crunchy shell.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. Also, Lori, you're overdoing the blush. And let me tell you what's happening, okay? You're drawing attention to the fact that your fillers ain't filling anymore. It's actually accentuating and highlighting that. It's not good. It's just not good.
Well,
and I don't feel bad about going at Lori for her looks. And I'll tell you why.
Hell no.
Because she's vain AF, okay?
Yeah.
And I know that that's how to get to her.
And she was a very beautiful woman. Even in the clips they were showing on Dateline that we've seen before, like her at the pageant and stuff, she was gorgeous. There was this one clip they kept showing of her with like pink eyeshadow on and her eyes real up close. The most beautiful blue eyes, like, but you're evil. So then, you know, we are allowed to go at your looks. And also it started to come out. You're not gorgeous anymore. You're not. That's just that.
You're not gorgeous at all. The evil is coming out of your pores. Literally.
Yep.
Now your outside is matching your inside. And you can say all you want all day long, and you can borrow a phrase from Sarah Boone, that all of your cracks are your kintusukuroi. It's your gold that's keeping you together, but you and Sarah Boone can both get bent with that. That's ridiculous. You're not a victim of circumstances. We don't have it wrong.
No. Oh God, I just wonder, what are we going to get today? What do you expect from her as her own attorney?
Well, I expect redonk. For example, I covered one of her hearings where she was demanding that the state turn over evidence of a conspiracy, not realizing that the discovery that they gave her is their evidence of conspiracy, you idiot. They're not going to say, okay, let me tell you specifically no, the whole kit and caboodle is their evidence of conspiracy. What you're arguing is weight. You don't believe that the evidence that they gave you
Yes,
in discovery proves that. That's weight.
I
That's
saw
not
that one. Yeah.
a big dummy.
And no, Lil Red, you can't get her jail records in Arizona because she's there now fighting a case. Now, what about Idaho, Jen? I mean, I've never requested from Idaho before.
Let me say this, all we can do is try. What's the worst that they could say? No. Then we're no worse off, but they might say yes.
Yeah, true.
And I think what we're going to hear today, let me see if I can get back to, here we go. I showed this earlier. Let me share this, Allie. This is some of the things that we're going to be looking at today. This is what she's going to be arguing today. Okay.
Okay. I saw you pull it up, but I couldn't see it. You should tell me what does it say?
I'm going to read it to you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the defendant submits the following supplemental disclosure pursuant to Arizona Criminal Procedure 15.2. The defense notices the following defenses: insufficiency of the state's evidence, self-defense, defense of others, third party at fault, mere presence, F, procedural. The defense notices the following witnesses. I don't know what A is. It's cut off. But B, any. Look, Lori got me. I can't even talk. She got me so irritated already this morning that I can't even speak. B, any and all individuals, including, but not limited to, victim assistance caseworkers and or volunteers who have spoken with any witness in this case. All witnesses listed in state's Rule 15.1 disclosure, as well as in any supplemental disclosure filings. D, the custodian of records for any and all exhibits. E, Nate Eaton. F, that is Viasia, Gabriel Bonilla, Joseph Pongrantz, Ashlyn Rind, Barry Cox, Zachary Cox, Adam Cox, Janet Cox, Summer Shislett, Brandon Boudreau. These are people that she intends to call.
Oh my.
She misspelled her own sister's name.
Did it really say Shislett?
Yes, babe. You think I read that wrong on purpose? No, this is what she wrote. Summer Shislett.
Oh my gosh. Hold on one second.
Okay. And she intends to argue. Oh, wait. If I'm holding on, she's not going to hear this part. So let me just wait.
No, I can hear you. I just have to mute for a second.
Okay. So she also, this is from Justin Lum. He says, or he posted on the platform formerly known as Twitter. I just can't get around calling it X. It just doesn't sound right to me. But anyway, tomorrow morning at 8:30, hearing with key implications will proceed. Arguments on Court TV live stream broadcasts, motions regarding statements by Tylee, Ryan, Alex Cox, trial schedule, jury selection.
Wow, this is going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
To think of a few names that were missing. Ooh, but I wanted to ask you, speaking
Yes.
of Dateline, like, and I know that this has came up before when other documentaries and stuff have came out, but
Mm-hmm.
Colby was talking about, and they were showing Lori used to be the fun mom. She used to like play with the kids nonstop, take them to every fun thing to do. They
Mm-hmm.
even show footage of them? Like, what in the hell went wrong? It's just crazy that a woman could be completely dedicated to her kids and she meets her match in Chad, and then, you know what I mean? How does that? I don't know. It's hard to wrap your mind around that.
So I think about that quite frequently. Like, bruh, what even happened here, right? And for me, kind of, I think on some level, some of Lori's thought process as not as a like a kid or a teenager or young adult, but I think um at some I think when she was probably 25, somewhere around in that area, I do think that she already had a propensity to be, for lack of a better word right now, shady boots. I think that she already had a propensity to be a manipulator, to be a user. We see because of look what she did to Colby and Tylee's father, the way she treated him, how she left him, the accusations, etc. Right? I think that that part of her always existed. I think when it comes to her children, though, Tylee and JJ, the sad fact is, see, um, Colby and Tylee, when she was, moving on and wanted to be with Charles Vallow, they were not in the way.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
They
but
loved
when
him, yeah.
they loved him, but when it came to Chad and her being with Chad, Lori's perception was that Tylee was going to be an obstacle. And by extension, because Tylee is so close to JJ, I have a very difficult time speaking about them in the past tense because it's just so it's sad. And I do think that in life they were close, and I think in death they are close as well. So to me, they are still currently close. But I think because Tylee is so close to JJ, and she did a lot of the day to day caretaking, particularly after Charles and
Yeah.
Lori split up, and then all that. I think she thought that Tylee would influence JJ, and I don't I th- and I honestly, I think that if JJ had any reaction at all to Chad, it came from children having a keen sense of who people are.
Oh, yeah.
You
They
know,
can feel the vibes.
yep, children and animals seem to know bad people from
Yeah.
the jump, you know. I can't wait to hear what Nate has to say about being in those papers. And this is also a fantastic point um, that Rachel makes. Rachel says also Charles had money and a job. Chad was dead weight, and so she had to think on her feet. Yeah, she definitely had to hustle. Chad was it. I'm just going to tell you, Chad, you're a terrible author. Number one, and number two, you can't even get a Harry Potter reference correct, and that's why I will there will never be a compliment sandwich for you. I will never be able to see anything good in you. And the fact that you were able to murder two innocent children in whatever capacity you participated in, then bury them in the way that you did, you're disgusting. I have nothing for you. I don't care.
See, I think that Chad was at one point, he must have been like personable or something for people to even want to listen to him, including Lori. But then again, it goes back to me. I truly believe Chad is pure evil. I think Lori is mentally ill. I still think she's evil and needs to be punished, but I think that like Chad took advantage of her mental illness. You know what I mean?
So I will agree that Lori has some type of mental health issue. Um, I th- I'm not qualified to diagnose, so I'm not even going to attempt to say maybe it's this or maybe it's that because I honestly have no idea.
Right.
But I'll say this: I think that Lori and Chad are like fire and gasoline. I think they fed off of each other, and I don't. The words that I don't wouldn't use the words took advantage of or played upon. I think that Chad is just as deluded and sick as Lori is, and I think they gassed each other up, for lack of a better word.
See, I think he was far more like with it than she was. He just seemed to know. I don't know. I feel like that he was not. Maybe he does have some mental illness as well. I know that like Donna, that psychic, says that he's a psychic. He really does have like visions and stuff. That's what she believes. It's
Uh-huh.
interesting. But maybe he does have some mental illness, but as well, I hadn't thought about that. But to me, he just comes off like he has this air about him of like arrogance and confidence, not necessarily like mentally ill. When Lori, we know she couldn't even have her, case for a while because she couldn't participate in it because she was having the delusions. And they said it in Dateline, actually, that was another thing that I hadn't heard before quite like this. That remember when she wasn't competent to stand trial yet, that her diagnosis that it said she was having religious delusions.
Well, I think that mentally ill might not be the right word for Chad. I think he has some type of personality disorder. That's just my personal. Listen, the cheese has slipped off the cracker. That's all. Something ain't right. The milk ain't clean. The cheese has slipped off the cracker. Something ain't right with Chad, and something ain't right with Lori. What that is exactly and specifically, I don't know. But I think when it comes to this competency situation, right, and how Lori is very, 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 very manipulative, and how come it is right that she's was declared for a minute incompetent, but yet now here we are, a couple of years later in Arizona, and not only is she found competent to stand trial, this hoe is her own attorney.
I don't think, yeah, I could see like maybe thinking she was faking it, but I just don't think she's that good to convince the doctors and
Not
everything.
faking it, not faking it. That's not what I'm saying. We'll have to really, we have to
Then what
really
are you
think
saying?
about what it
I'm
is
confused then.
that what do you need to be competent to stand trial? You need to be able to understand who the judge is and what the judge does, behave in courtroom and participate. And all you have to do is continue to espouse her religious ideations, right? And boom, she can't help in her case. That's it. That's all. It's not like they assessed her and diagnosed her with anything that I'm
But she
aware
did
of.
have two, I think she had two stays in the middle. Oh, wait, I'll have to go back and look because it was quite a while that she was,
Is she being medicated now?
I don't know.
See,
I
that's
don't
the
know that
thing.
that's been out there. But I
See,
think she still has religious delusions, if I'm being honest. Like, I think they just got her to a point where she could participate, and that's that. She's still ill. But
I don't know. I feel like with Lori, just listening to the conversations that she had with Chad, she reminds me of the type of person who they call it like a long con, where you get the person to do what you wanted to do, wanted them to do all along, but you never tell them that's what you wanted them to do. You make it their idea. And so it almost, I don't think we're ever going to know the answers to those questions, because some of that would depend on Lori and Chad being somewhat honest. And the fact of the matter is, they're lying liar faces who tell lies. So it's very difficult to know when they're being honest. You know what I mean? So it's hard to take what they say with any kind. Oh, they've moved it to 11 a.m. Court TV has.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
The judge asked her if she was taking medications, and she said no. My thing is, though, it wasn't, she was at a state hospital. They're the ones who decided to keep her for longer. And I don't know. I just believe that she has mental illness.
I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't have mental illness, but when it comes to, and I'm saying this, and I don't want to offend anybody, okay? That's not my intention. But if you think about what Christianity is based on, what the belief system is, okay? There is an invisible God. Nobody sees him. He's just invisible, and he's omnipotent, right? And he that's one part of it. So you believe in somebody that you can't actually see, and there's like no pictures of. He's not a solid thing, right? Then you have Jesus, who came to earth, was born of a virgin, okay, was crucified on the cross, died, and rose again 3 days later, okay? That in and of itself, if it were not religion, and if somebody believed in that, people would question it. How can that be? How can somebody die and come back? That part of it, just in and of itself. It's so, I think what they have to do when they're evaluating somebody like Lori, whose issues revolve around religion, and she might be hyper religious, okay? But it takes a while to separate, are these actual religious ideations from, is this actual delusions? It's very complicated when it comes to um, being hyper religious as far as mental health is concerned. It takes a lot of
I agree.
time. So I think that might be why it might have taken them longer. I'm not saying she does not have some mental health issues, and perhaps one of them is hyper religious.
Well, think about it. No, well, most mental health issues, they will start to believe they're God. They hear God. This is far beyond I believe in God and religion. It's my husband is God. You know what I mean? We are time traveling. We are going through portals. You know what I mean? It was far beyond your normal everyday. I don't disagree with you. I do agree with everything you said, but
Right.
I think that she's next level versus your average person who believes in whatever, that things that you may not be able to prove or see. They were like extremists.
Right. But Chad believed all of those things as well. All of these ideas and
Did he?
ideate.
Did he believe everything he was telling them?
He seems like he must have.
See, I've never believed he believed all of that. I believed he believed some, but I believe some of it was always to manipulate. Oh, I've got a message, Lori, that the kid that so and so has to go. That so and so's a zombie. He was kind of calling the shots, and I've always thought that he didn't believe everything he was telling them. That it was trying to get his way, trying to get rid of people he didn't. You know what I mean? Don't you think so?
I mean, I think that there's an element. This is the thing. I think we're talking about something that is like a freaking onion. There's layers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or
true.
if onions offend you, as Donkey said, parfaits. Everybody likes a parfait. Something like that. There's lots of layers, and there's a lot of subtlety, and there's a lot of, it's not black and white. There's like 11 billion shades of gray in between. And also, again, trying to understand what they believed or didn't believe is based on Lori and Chad's statements, as well as people like
Their
Melanie Gibb,
messages too.
Melanie P, David Warwick, all those people who are also liars.
That's true. But like, just thinking of his messages, like talking about causing the kids pain and that,
Yes.
like he was, he would even had Melanie P listening to him and believing he was, calling him father. Like these people were all warped. They were in this cult, sure, but there's a reason, in my opinion, that Lori was in the hospital for months. Chad was not. You know what I mean? When they were
Right.
arrested, they did. So there's obviously some kind of difference there going on between the two.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I think they definitely both have some type of issue. They're clearly not, for lack of a better word, right-thinking individuals, because anybody that thinks that the answer to the solution to a problem is murder, number one, is not thinking correctly, and and number two, that those murders should include children, clearly is not right thinking
Yeah.
individuals, and three, that the murders include children that are your own. It's one thing to talk about killing children in general. It's another thing to talk about killing your own children. Like those are all messed up thoughts.
I agree. I agree with that because I've even said this many times on my channel. Like anybody who commits a murder, you got some mental illness going on, especially if it's children. Like there's just different degrees of it.
The milk ain't clean.
And even if Lori is so sick, the whole point of this was just how did she go from this good mom to what she is now? But even if she is absolutely the most mentally ill, that a person could be, she still deserves to be punished and locked up. So it doesn't really make a difference to me. I don't think that being mentally ill should get you out of what you've done because you're obviously still a danger, but
Exactly. Ooh, this is a good point that girl next door says, and then Violet has a good point too. So girl next door says Lori was killing people before Chad came along, but he definitely didn't discourage her. That's true.
Who are we talking about? Joe Ryan?
Joe Ryan.
Which we don't know that for sure, but I have wondered that too. And his sister is very convinced that she was in that house and the reason he had a heart attack. But, I don't know. I've always wondered about that myself, but it's different to kill your husband who is trying to get custody of your kids versus killing your kids.
Right. There's yes, that's my thing too. Like, while I will never understand it and it will never be justified, it's there's a level of evil, right? That you decide your soon to be ex-husband or your ex-husband is trying to take your kids from you, or you just don't like him, or whatever the reason is, right? And you unalive him. It is a different kind. It's evil.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but it is a different type of evil when you take the lives of your own children.
Yeah.
They're both evil. It's just a different type of evil.
And don't be mistaken, because they did not just take the lives of these children. First of all, one of them was dismembered and burned.
Correct.
And disgraced and disrespected in such a way that, I mean, I'm sorry, it was 10 times worse than if they had have just taken her life. It's like they despised her and hated her. It was terrible. And JJ too. Think about how they did him. Like he was special needs, and they just put a bag over his head, and it's just torture. It's just such evil. What they did to those kids was just horrifying.
Exactly.
But Tylee being dismembered, burnt, I don't even think they fully recovered all of her.
They did not. I do think this is interesting that Violet says as well. Violet says, I always found the call interesting, where the agents show up at Chad's house and he's on the phone with Lori. He sounds terrified and she sounds completely relaxed. Let's listen to that while we're waiting. We
Ooh,
have
okay.
like an hour and a half to go. So
Okay.
let's just see what's going on.
That's a good idea. Yeah, he's definitely terrified. He's like just gulp. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can hear, like, just hear it in his voice.
Like
That's what I mean. She's like, it's almost like she really believed that, we'll be fine. We'll be just, I don't know. The world's about to end any day now.
Okay, so we have a couple of things that we can listen to. We're going to listen to, let me see what this one is real quick.
Hey, did you ever find out why it was being said that she was going to testify today?
No, I didn't. I tried, but I did not. All right,
Okay.
so. All right, so we're going to listen to two calls since we have time. We're going to listen to one call. This is the call that was made the day before the children's bodies were found. And then we'll listen to the call from the day the children's bodies were found. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You down? All right. Let me share my screen real quick. Here we go. I totally forgot that that there was this call as well. Also, don't be mad, you guys, I need a cigarette. So I'm going to let this play for like 5 minutes and then I'll come in and do commentary. Sound like a plan?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, here we go. Any minute now. Here we go. Now they got it. I want to make sure that it plays and everything before I go.
Says, this was all still before the second coming. The Lord had ordained for us to begin the millennial day within Zion and her cities, while war and chaos reigned everywhere else. So it was already like the millennium. They were already living millennial way
Like a pocket, yeah.
the whole time.
Well, that's kind of how I've seen it. As begins with a family, then a neighborhood, then a town, then a city. And New Jerusalem's kind of the best example of that.
Right.
Yeah, it starts small, but grows exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's will, and they're doing all they can to destroy one of the key families, but they're not going to.
I mean, there's so much that I know. I was sitting here thinking about that. I know too much.
Yes.
I can't deny it. I know it's just a matter of time. I just don't know what that timing is.
So I texted Ray. He responded pretty quick.
Detective, I'm going to pause it there. Did you hear Mr. Daybell say I texted Ray?
I did.
It's because my microphone wasn't up here. Yes, I can. Did you hear Mr. Daybell say that he texted Ray?
Yes, I did.
Through your investigation, did you become aware of any individual that had a nickname or alias of Ray?
Through our investigation, we learned that Alex Cox often went by Ray Lamar. We also associated a Gmail account through phone records back to Alex Cox, and that Gmail was raylamar@gmail.com.
Now, what was the date of this phone call again?
June 8th of 2020.
And was Alex Cox alive or dead at this time?
No, he was deceased.
Do you recall when he died?
December 12th of 2019.
Detective, through your investigation, did you find any information that Chad Daybell claimed to have the ability to speak with people who were deceased?
Judge, I'm going to object. Relevance.
Overruled.
Through our investigation, interviews with multiple witnesses that were close to him, through the teachings in his books, he would often talk about how he had the ability to see and speak with people on the other side of the veil.
And Your Honor, I'm going to resume playing at 7:34.
All right, before you do that, Mr. Wood, I think we might be able to assist on the audio.
Your Honor, I'm going to start playing at 7:34, and if the court can let me know if it's coming through the speakers.
All right, thank you.
Oh, it's good. Usually it's hard to get a hold of him. He's busy
Okay.
days.
Yes.
All right, really quickly, I just want to highlight what Kez said because this does make sense. I feel if it was mental illness with Lori, she wouldn't be hiding what has happened. She would believe what she did was right, if you get what I mean. See, I agree in part. Okay. I think what they had trouble with and why Lori had to stay in the mental hospital for as long as she did is because I think what they were trying to figure out is this an actual religious ideation? Is this something that she actually believes, or is it a delusion? Does she suffer from maybe like schizophrenia or something like that? And I think that they had to talk to her quite a bit in order to make that determination. That's just what I think. I don't know though. I wasn't there. I mean, I do think there has to be some level of something ain't right mentally if you think it's a good idea to kill your children, period.
Hey, Wolfie, it's me. No, they did say that it was religious delusions on that Dateline episode. So whatever that means.
Also, there's another thing I wanted to answer really quickly before we move on, because I want to get your opinion on this. So Stitch says, we have time to play most of Colby's interview of Lori too. He got more out of her than Dateline did. I don't remember this first call. Interesting. I feel weird about playing Colby's content, that specific call. I don't know if it's like, I feel like
I think it's fine. He probably wants people
so?
to, but
Okay.
yeah, but I understand why you feel that way. But I think he probably wants people to share.
Okay. Okay. Then if you think it's okay, then I will. Usually I, sometimes I feel weird about things that there's no reason to feel weird about. And
you always do. No, you always do not feel weird about things there's no reason to, but you always try to be cautious, which is a good thing. More true crime creators should take note, in my opinion. I love that about you. You don't just do shit willy-nilly. You want to be respectful of all the people involved. If he didn't have his channel, and as long as you share his link, and I think it'd be good, just share his channel more too. But it's ultimately up to you. I'm
going to play it if you guys think it's okay. I just worry sometimes, and Allie worries like I do. And that's why I go to you, Allie. I'm not going to say like you're not here, because you are respectful in the same way and you worry about it. And so if you think it's okay, then I trust your judgment, because
I think it's okay. I feel the same way about you. Like I would ask you, because I know that you're cautious with that kind of stuff. And I have coffee in me now. Like, I feel like a whole new woman. I've only taken a couple drinks.
Stand back, y'all. Allie's a whole new woman. Watch out now.
Yes, for real.
All right, so I'll definitely let me play this a little bit longer and see what we get out of it. Hold on, because this
Isn't
looks
Colby
like
such a handsome young man, though? And just like, I don't know. I'm proud of him. I can't imagine how he's just precious, I think, and his wife and their kids.
yes.
Precious.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. I think I'm waiting for them to play the call.
Non-blonde millennial.
Usually it's hard to get a hold
Oh,
of.
sorry. No. It's my fault. Go ahead.
Non-blonde millennial says Dr. John said she was diagnosed with hyper-religiosity. Is what
Yeah,
they
that's a
thought.
thing. That's a
Okay,
thing.
I never heard of that. Wow.
Yes. I used to follow somebody on Facebook who suffered from hyper religiosity. And when she did a specific substance that makes you very sped up, I'll leave it there. She would start then she would really hyper focus on being religious and being on time with God, and that there were signs. And she would be standing and looking at a street light and talking to it for hours because it, in her mind, it like blinked twice or something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and she, one of the things that happened is she would end up getting picked up by the cops, and they would take her to the mental hospital, and she'd been diagnosed with that a ton, and she's supposed to be on medication and all those things. It's actually a sad, like,
That's super sad.
situation. Mhm.
Well, the person in my life that I've had like very close issues in my family because of their mental illness, who's in the hospital right now, that person like also talks a lot about religion.
Mhm.
Somebody's mom, but yeah, they get stuck in these like religious, like, but not just like normal religion, like I was saying earlier, not your like it's I'm God. God is in me. I can hear God. God's telling me to hurt people. God, things like that.
Yes. Okay. So Heather PDX says, I think she believes it. I'm married into a Mormon family. This stuff isn't as fringe as you'd think. My sister-in-law speaks her dead relatives a lot, and my mother-in-law is going to marry her dead uncle in heaven. Now, I will say that as far as the Mormon religion goes, it isn't, some of the stuff that they believe in isn't fringe. I remember researching Joseph Smith, and before he became the creator and leader of the Mormon Church, he used to put a crystal ball in a hat, like a top hat, and said that he could divine from there. He would go to people's homes and walk their land to see it. And he said he could divine it where like buried treasure was on their property. So, and there is like an element to the Mormon religion that that there is that aspect to it, talking to the dead. But I feel like you can take anything you want to that it doesn't have anything to do with the Bible. Let's take, for example, true crime cases. Okay. Allie and I can watch the exact same interview of the exact same person. Nothing has changed there, but it's us. It's two different people, and we can take something completely different from the same interview. And I think that exists in everything.
We were just talking about it this morning.
Yes, we were.
Another case.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that I think that anybody, it's all subject to interpretation. And I think that human beings, unfortunately, have the capacity to use anything they want at any time to justify what it is that they're doing. That's it. It's not just limited to the Bible. It's not limited to any other religious text. I think people make excuses to justify their behavior all the time that has nothing to do with religion.
Yep, that's true. That is true.
So that's a problem. All right, let's listen to this call, and then we will listen to the call on the day the children's bodies are found, and then we'll listen to Colby. All right, here we go.
Okay, and hey, wait, just real
What?
quick before you press play, what time
Yes.
does court start again? 12 Eastern now?
Yes, I think so. Let me
Okay.
refresh, and just in case there's been an update. Yes, March 11th at 11 a.m. my time, so that means 12 East Coast time.
Ooh, it's at 11:11. Okay, all right.
All right, here
Thank
we go.
Slim's busy
Okay.
days.
Yes. But I asked him what we'd talked about. And he's very optimistic.
It was very optimistic for you, or he's very optimistic it could happen.
He's very optimistic for both of us.
He doesn't know his own project timeline.
He said, stick with it. To what he projected.
Hang on a minute, because I don't like when it does that, when it buffers and then we miss parts. So hold on a second. Let's try that again.
Stick with it.
His own project timeline.
He said,
Yeah, I don't know why it's
stick
doing
with
that.
it. To what he projected in that paper he wrote.
House renovations always take longer than they think.
That's the problem.
I've been watching that Extreme Pools,
Uh-huh.
and the people are like 3 months out. Like,
I mean,
when they estimated they'd have it done, and they're like, we had so many problems, we couldn't get to the backyard, we had to pull a crane over the house to get these huge rocks for the waterfall.
I can remember last summer, Taylor Hill, Mark's friend, parents moved into a trailer, like a camping trailer, in their driveway because they were going to build their house by the end of the year. Guess where they're still at?
Really?
They sold their house to their son. It's just a weird situation, but you're exactly right. Yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah, there's always something comes up. Well, we didn't know when we dug in your backyard, we were gonna find whatever. And then they're like, we have to redo all the piping, and then we had trouble with this, and then something else happened. And so, but they try to make it sound like it wasn't really that long, but it's always like, it's gonna take 3 months. And then 3 months after that, they're like, okay, it took 6 months.
Okay, so Clicker says, I don't know if it's been said in chat because I've just been listening, but Arizona doesn't participate in daylight savings time, so their time is weird. I do know that. I was born in Arizona and lived there till I was 10. I was trying to calculate Arizona time because I still have family there. And so I know for daylight savings, when we are in spring forward like we are now, we are 2 hours ahead of Arizona in Central Standard Time. And when I lived
So
in
they go
Florida,
to
we were
Pacific?
3. They
Okay.
just don't change. Their time stays the same regardless. They
Right,
don't
but
participate.
when
Yes. Yeah,
we
for
change,
you
I mean.
guys, yes. So for East Coast, it's 3 hours. For Central Time, it's 2 hours. Then in the fall, when we fall backwards, there's only an hour difference between
Okay.
Central Time and Arizona time. Yeah.
And then I was gonna ask you something else about that, but I forgot. I'm looking on Twitter while we're talking,
Yeah.
And I did see Justin Lum had a link out that said join us. I think the time thing was what you're talking about. That's the issue. They didn't realize that it changed
Yeah.
because his post says at 9:15, so it looks like it's still starting at 11 their time, like it was supposed to. But maybe
Right.
Court TV and stuff got it
Well,
confused.
I bet Court TV forgot that Arizona doesn't participate in daylight savings time.
Yep. Yep.
So also
Okay.
good to see you. No, Michelle, I did live in Florida. I moved back to Texas at the beginning of December. I talked about it lots. All right, here we go.
You couldn't come in your backyard at all. And now it's not summer anymore. Now it's winter and your pool is finally done.
Right.
Mostly they do it in Florida and places like that. But. So he's optimistic about his construction problem or construction
Problems.
not problems, but plan. His
Yeah,
construction plan, the blueprints are still intact.
yes.
They're timing.
And I kind of just said, I texted him what you just said is, you guys are always a little off.
Right, exactly. We just want a real estimate.
Right.
What do
He
you say?
just laughed. Did a
So
little-
he did not confirm nor deny that fact. That contractors are always
Oh,
later than they think they're gonna be.
He's like, it'll work out, how he is. He did want me to say he misses you. But he's not far from, contact. We can talk, we can text him whenever he wants.
Just for context, because it's been so long, the contractor they're referring to is Alex. The ridiculous part of all of this, aside from the fact that they can text him anytime they want because he's no longer living, is that they think they're being so very, very clever talking in code, right? As if law enforcement isn't going to pick up what they're putting down, but they're also blaming Alex for but the part that they're not clever about is calling Alex the contractor. The contractor has to be hired by someone. Who is he hired by? Chad and Lori. Contractors don't just show up at your place and offer to start doing renovations. You have to reach out to them. So in the end, even though the contractor is hired to do a specific job, he or she won't do that job without payment. And also when a contractor comes, they discuss the plans with the homeowner. So at the end of the day, the homeowner is not off the hook for the plans. Lori and Chad. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense.
Yeah, I can't text anybody. Have text.
It
You
was,
text for me. That's like me telling you, I need you to tell this person and talk to this person.
I'll text him back. But he's optimistic. I want to go visit him and grab him by the throat and say, really?
Can he? I know he's optimistic, but can he just make us any guarantees? I mean, we did make our down payments and everything else.
Guarantee.
I would like a guarantee, just an end date of our project.
Also, why are you asking Alex for the end date of your project? Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but didn't God himself put you in charge of this project, i.e. the gathering of the 144,000? So if all of this has to do with the 144,000, or what is this, like when you're playing like Mario and the object is to clear the level, but there's always side quests like getting all the coins, getting all the things. Is that like what this is? Is this some kind of crazy side project? Also, I forgot something. Hold on just a second because I don't want to forget this. I'm very appreciative and grateful. I just need to find it. I want to thank I can't find it in the chat. I can't. So annoying that I can't do it from Streamlabs. Give me a sec because I went too far. But I'd like to thank B Frank for their super chat. Cheers to 5 Hour at Energy. Love ya. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. That was very generous. Thank you.
Today, the 5 hour and the coffee has really, really done us a favor. Every day. Every day.
Every day. Yeah, so I don't understand this. Like, why are you consulting with Alex? I thought all of this at the end of the day was, according to you guys, was God's plan. You're supposed to be gathering up the 144,000. Whatever even happened to that quest? I don't understand how the quest started out to gather 144,000 people, but you're eliminating people. That seems counterproductive to the actual quest. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know.
Nope.
It doesn't make sense
You
to
are not
me.
the crazy one here. That's for sure.
I think the fact that I question my own sanity means that I'm sane.
Yes. I agree.
All right, let's keep going.
Well, he knows you pretty well. So he just laughs.
Oh, Chad, you smooth twaka, you. Ugh.
No, I asked him what he thought of the video project. He said it was really nice. He loved it.
Oh, good.
Detective, through your investigation, were you aware of any type of video put out about Alex Cox around this time?
Not around June 8th. But shortly after Alex Cox died, his sister Summer Shiflett made a YouTube video with clips of Alex, photos throughout his life, and put it to music. And so we viewed that early on in the investigation, but that's what is being referred to here.
Judge, I'm going to object. That calls for speculation. He can't speculate is what it calls for.
Untimely, overruled.
And Judge, I had stopped playing.
I have to say, I forgot about just how much I enjoyed Judge Boyce in this trial because he's just so over it. Untimely, overruled. You should have objected a lot longer, way long ago. You big dummy. Price. You get what you pay for or don't pay for, as it were. Isn't that right, Mr. Price?
At 12:13, I'm going to recommence playing at 12:13.
You may.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Although I'd never heard that song before. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just something on like iMovie or something that's on your phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like one of the backgrounds that you can
Church
use or something.
background, just a happy one. Yeah.
I don't know, because I've never even heard that one, or I've never seen the app, but I know people can do that. iMovie, it was always on my iPhone. I just didn't ever click on it.
Yeah. But
So,
frustrating.
Imagine if you had clicked on it, Lori, instead of clicking on the will attend to one of Chad's speaking engagements. Imagine where your life would be now if you would have gotten into making iMovies instead of this bullshit.
Frustratingly optimistic, I guess is.
so frustrating for us.
Yeah,
We're gonna be
that's what I
completed.
mean.
Thanks for completing your project on time. Will they get a bonus? They do it.
Oh yeah, we'll give him a bonus. It was good. It was good to talk. You know, I hadn't texted him in a while. So,
So he would still answer all my questions in the same way, you think, if I texted him?
I think you ought to write down some questions for him maybe even mail them off and see what happens.
Yeah, Lori, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Leave a paper trail. What an idiot, Chad, because I don't think he actually meant write down questions metaphorically. I think he literally meant write down questions. This is, you know, shut up, Chad. So Jean has a good comment. Quote, and grab Alex by the throat. Probably just look what he did to poor JJ. I found that language very telling. You know, I always say this that people leak.
Yeah,
Lori
and
is
they do.
leaking evil out of her pores, and sometimes when she speaks, she leaks a little of the truth, and I think Chad does too.
Yep, I do too. It's so annoying because every time I put the phone down and like close the like I can close the window and listen to what we're listening to, but for some reason when you start to talk, it cuts it off. Then I have to pick it up and like open it to hear you. So I've missed the first thing you've said a couple times. I'm just gonna stop closing it.
Well, that is probably a good idea, and that
Yeah.
is Streamlabs' way of saying, Bindi speaking, Allie. It's muy importante. It's not just gibberish this time, we promise.
Pay attention, lady, which I am. I'm just
I
like
know
setting
you
it
are.
down and doing stuff here at the house. And
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I just appreciate you
But-
being here. You don't have to listen
well,
to
I'm
every
just
single
glad to
word
be
that I
here.
say. Some of it's gibberish.
No, I want to hear it all though, so I can respond.
Respond to my gibberish and my
Yes.
outrage.
Yeah.
I still feel the same level of outrage, anger, disgust, all those emotions today as I did the day that we watched this trial. This testimony took place. Like it hasn't simmered. It hasn't, like I'm not at a place where I've like separated emotionally from it and I can see it for what it is without having an
Yeah.
emotional reaction. I don't think I'll ever be at that place ever.
Yeah.
Pigs, they're so gross. All right, here we go. Let's listen to more of Chad Daybell being a smooth talker.
See if he'll
Okay.
respond to you. I have no doubt. Don't forget President Holland's talk. That snippet. He seemed like he wants to text you if he could.
I mean,
Yeah,
hold on a minute. What is with the giggle after making a statement? He said,
She's flirting.
It's him too, though. He said, text him if you could. What are you got? What is happening here? Are you channeling Betty Rubble? Like, remember when Betty Rubble would talk and she would say something? She'd be like, okay, that was like her shtick. That was her thing. This comes off as gross, creepy, and icky.
Who is that?
Betty Rubble from the Flintstones. It's the older
Oh, okay. I was
cartoon.
about to, yes. No, I know the Flintstones. I just never heard her called by her last name. So it hit my ears funny, but yes.
Yeah.
But I heard Lori too. Her,
Yes.
as he speaks, ugh.
It's all gross. And the thing is it's a little giggle after. It's that he giggles after he says everything. Yeah, he's frustratingly optimistic. It's just gross.
it's all true. That's all I can say. They haven't forgotten.
I know they want to work on their project and they're not too happy and busy. That's how I scoped it out. Oh, just like, I'm busy.
Well, true for that.
It's good. It's good. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
No, he's still,
I mean, it's not like they're talking about, okay, they're clearly referring to Alex, okay? But it's not like they're reminiscing about like some memory they have of Alex. Like, remember that time that Alex was walking through the living room and went to go out the sliding glass door and thought the sliding glass door was open and it wasn't, and he ran into the sliding glass door. By the way, that is a story that actually happened just last week to me. I thought that the sliding glass door was open. I was looking at my phone and I walked right into the sliding glass door. That's taken from real life.
Ow.
Also very on brand for your girl. I will trip over air. But that's not what's happening here. They're talking about a plan to get rid of more people, take more lives,
Yeah.
and they're giggling about it.
Yep. And by the way, I sympathize with you because I took my contacts out like 2 days ago and walked right into the wall. Not
Oh,
a clear door,
God.
a wall. And I had a huge knot. Like my depth perception was off, and I missed like I ran into the wall where it connects to the bathroom door. I thought I was further away than I was.
Oh my
But I had a
gosh.
giant ass knot on my forehead. I still have a scab on the top of my forehead.
Is that the one you showed me that night after we got off the live? Was that
Yes,
the chingasso?
I think
Oh
that
my
is it. Yes.
gosh.
What was that? Just like yes, after the calls. Yep, that was
Yes.
the day it happened. But then the
Bless
next
your
day, the knot got
heart.
even bigger, and it was like a big. I was telling the kids I was growing a horn. I was a unicorn because there was only one.
Bless
But
your
yeah,
heart. Bless your
so we're
heart.
the same.
We
So.
are the same. Clumsy AF, right? Clumsy AF,
Yeah.
but we're not out here taking other people's lives and giggling about it. Like, that's a story you giggle about, not giggling about this plan that you have with Alex Cox, and you're communicating with him in the afterlife to solidify these plans and make sure you're still a go. Like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Gross. Here we go.
very interested. He hasn't like forgotten about us.
Good. I know he has other projects, so.
Let me just say this. If I were Alex Cox, I wouldn't forget about you either. And all of my other projects would include haunting you until the end of time. That is all.
I don't know how much time that takes. but
He's involved in this latest batch.
Wow. Remind him when you do text him back that at the beginning of this project, he said there was only like a 3% chance that there would be trouble from certain aspects. And then there's like 100% trouble because that's where it all started. So find out about that.
Right.
You idiots. Why in the actual F did you think on any level that if you murdered people, there wouldn't be freaking trouble?
Yeah. And is she talking about like because I'm locked up right now?
Yes.
Trouble?
Yes. She's saying that
Okay.
from the moment they killed Charles Vallow, there's been nothing but trouble. It all the cops won't get off of their backs, and then you got Charles having changed the beneficiary of his life insurance to his sister. Then you have Kay being worried about JJ and Tylee and asking after them and sending the cops over there to do a well check. All of those things. Trouble. What the fuck did you think would happen?
Yeah. Yeah. No, they truly believe she really. I think she really. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
It's so hard. It's hard for me to, I guess because I'm like fully say that this is just, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that she's mentally ill. I do think there's an aspect of that. And I do agree with you also that that mental illness does not negate the necessity for punishment. But then she also did things to cover it up and hide what had happened. So in my mind, I wonder, like when you commit a crime and you think it's for righteous reasons, right? I would imagine that you'd be open about it because to you it's not a crime. It's only,
Yeah, but
I don't know.
unless Chad can instruct it or not to, or if because they think the rest of the world doesn't, number one, see things the way we do. So maybe they would expect police to get mad because they obviously lied about where JJ was. But then again, they also were talking about the end of the world was happening, any day now.
That is true. That is true. So maybe they thought it wouldn't catch up with them. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
It's
who
very
knows?
difficult for me to really, really. I vacillate with Lori because she'll do and say some things, and I'll be like, bruh, she is not right in the head. Like she actually has something serious going on that needs treatment, right? But then I will listen to something else and be like, man, she's completely complicit, and moreover, she's the one calling the shots. It's just that she is making Chad think it's his idea. You know what I mean? They do it, which I think is probably really actually kind of, I hate to use this word, but I don't want to use normal. I think that's to be expected because human beings are multifaceted and they're not one thing all the time.
That's true, but like if you hear her on these calls and like I don't know, she's fully like believing that he's just talking to Alex, and she sounds like it anyways. He obviously is not texting him, and he knows that it's bullshit,
Right. So then this is
doesn't
my
he?
question. I don't know. I can't get it. This is the problem with Chad. He's like a huge just lump. Okay. And you can't really get a read off of him because even when he speaks, even his laughter is monotone. Like, listen to how he laughs. When I laugh, it's a whole giggle. When Allie laughs, most people, it's a whole giggle. Even Lori has a more genuine giggle. How do you giggle in monotone?
Yeah, he does though. You're
But he
right.
does. But he
Um,
does.
I just wanted to acknowledge Solo Angel Mom in the chat who said my late son had hyper religiosity, couldn't pull that Bible out of his hands when he was in psychosis, and outsiders would say, "Oh, how wonderful!" And I just clenched my teeth, dying inside. I am so
Aw.
sorry. I know that had to be so scary because my family member who does it, it's very scary. And I've watched other people like talk about their loved ones who had schizophrenia or bipolar with delusions, and uh, talk about like this one girl talked about her dad who had a cross around his neck. You could not take it from him, or he would freak out and hurt anybody. So it's very scary, and I'm just so sorry that you had to go through that.
Me too. Solo Angel Mama. I'm Solo Angel Mom. I'm sorry. That's watching it happen to your loved one things like that happen with your loved one is very, very difficult. It's
Yeah.
astronomically difficult when it is your child. I can't,
Phew.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, babe. I really am. But I also want to thank you for sharing that because um,
Yes.
it's not something that occurs frequently. And so most people wouldn't have know anybody like this or haven't or witnessed something like this or, it takes
Yes.
a firsthand perspective. And I appreciate you sharing with us. I really do.
Me too.
Okay, Carol, please, Carol, stay out of my head because it's quite messy up there and nobody understands my filing system. But Carol says Chad sounds like Warren Jeffs, another self-proclaimed prophet in prison. Yes, there is that whole blessing thing that
You've
Chad
been saying
does.
that forever.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and It sounds exactly to me. The tone, the cadence, it's not, I mean, obviously it's a little bit different wording, but it does sound uh, like that to me.
Do you
It,
think that
he,
Chad followed what he was doing? Because I would think he would, right? Just
well,
like with the things he was into, even people who weren't Mormon or didn't have like kind of, these more not extreme beliefs were following what he was doing. So do you think they were at all, or at least paying attention and knowing about it?
okay, so yes, mainstream Mormons are very aware of Warren Jeffs, the fundamentalist Church of
Yeah,
Latter, whatever, the FLDS. They're very familiar because they're told that they cannot have anything to do with anybody in that sect, and they're not, at all. This is where I
right.
think it. This is where I think it goes sideways. So, um, the mainstream Mormon church hasn't practiced polygamy for a very, very long time, but it is like one of those skeletons in the closet. And I think what happens is, what I've noticed anyway, is that that it's keep sweet. The motto is keep sweet, Jean. Um, what I've noticed is some mainstream Mormons begin to study their religion, and they go back to the early days when Joseph Smith first began um, prophesizing. And one of the tenets of their faith at that time was um, polygamy. And I think that what ends up happening is they question that. Why are we not practicing this tenet of our faith because it is frowned upon and illegal, and we don't want hassle from the government? And is that the reason why we're not practicing this tenet of our faith? And if that's the case, if we're not practice if Joseph Smith, who is the prophet of our church, who founded our church, who spoke directly with God and received revelation from God, if he decreed that polygamy was a good thing, and the only reason we're not practicing it is because of the government, then aren't we breaking the tenets of our faith, and therefore in jeopardy of not ascending to the highest form of heaven, which is celestial heaven, if we don't practice it? And I can imagine that would put people from the mainstream Mormon church feeling funny. It would be like if, when the Catholic Church was founded, at the end of every mass, there's communion. Okay, it would be like if all of the sudden the government decided that communion was no longer legal, and Catholics only stopped practicing taking communion because of the government. It would make a Catholic wonder, well, okay, but doesn't God outrank the government? What God says is the ultimate word. And I would think that it would make people question it, like question the leaders of their church. And then when you find out that other people have questioned the church, and they've questioned it so far in that they've branched off from the mainstream Mormon church and are now going back to what they refer to as the fundamentalist views of the church. That's how I think it's like a slippery slope.
Well, don't they not believe in government anyways? Because I know Jehovah's Witness like don't, and they don't participate in elections. They of course have to follow the laws to a degree, but they don't really acknowledge it. And so is that the way that the Mormons are too? Like they're not supposed to vote, or because their government is their church and God and all of that. That's who they answer to basically. And I know that the lady who I learned about like the Jehovah's Witness Bible and religion and all that with explained to me that like they're not supposed to vote or anything like that.
hang on just hold on a second. Okay. I'm doing too many things at once. I need to just do one thing at a time, which I'm going to focus on answering your question. Okay.
Okay.
I actually have not ever heard that, but let me say this. The conversations that I had with the Mormon missionaries that came to my house, because I actually was really interested in what they had to say. I just from a curiosity standpoint. I would imagine that there is a difference in what you know about the church when you're born into the church versus when you're converting. So to answer that question, I actually don't know if that is a thing. I've never heard it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I would imagine that it wouldn't be something that Mormon missionaries advertise, as it were.
Right. Well, it's the same way I learned about that. I was just like newer into my recovery and exploring all religions and just what people believed. And this little lady happened to knock on my door, and she came and we studied the Bible together for like months and months. And that's what she told me. But Jehovah's Witness is totally different. I understand that. So I just was curious. For some reason, I thought they both were like that. Lori's dad is so anti-government. He wrote a whole ass book on how to evade taxes. Okay, Fundy Mormons don't trust the government. LDS are taught to vote. Okay, interesting.
Right. Okay, for a really good example of what Lori is talking, or Lori, sorry, Allie, what Allie is talking, I'm looking at the chat and you and reading Lori's dad is so anti-government. I found that the comment Stars Align wrote. And then, you know me, I don't need to explain anymore. Bottom line is, if you really are interested in that specific concept, I would suggest watching Under the Banner of Heaven. It is on FX. It is based on a true story. It is really, really, really well done. And it talks a lot about that. And the other thing I wanted to say is the phrase that is used in the fundamentalist is keep sweet. The only reason that I remember that so vividly, and I just Googled it, is because that was one of the it was the one of the documentaries that was done on the FLDS church is titled "Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey." And the only reason that's why I remember it, because it was literally the title of a documentary. Now, I don't know if mainstream Mormons use "Stay Sweet," but I can assure you that is etched in my memory. Yes. Yes. This is another one. Horror Hose is correct. Watch Heretic. It is so good. And I would say it's less, in my opinion, horror. If I had to really like define a specific and only pigeonhole it into one specific genre, I would not put it with horror. I would put it in suspense thriller. That's how I would put it. It's really it's a really good movie, and it actually keeps you thinking. Like I was thinking about it, like the themes during the movie and then after the movie. And I will say A24, there's been several of their movies that made me think after the fact. It was really a good movie. It really was.
I've seen that somewhere because I know I've heard that "Keep Sweet" or whatever.
It's on Netflix, babe. That documentary is on Netflix.
But I don't think I either just saw a clip of it or like wait a minute, what's that show of the people who are leaving the faith? That are like escaping in the night?
Escaping polygamy.
That's the show.
Yep.
They say it. Watch that show all the time. I loved it, and they showed clips and stuff and added in there. Yeah.
Yep, and so they show. Yes, they do, and that show, the particular sect that they're most of the women are leaving is a fundamentalist church, but it is not the FLDS. I cannot remember which specific offshoot it is, but they are all the Kingston. Thank you, horror host. But they are very similar in a lot of ways, other than I think in their dress. I don't recall the women in the or the people in the Kingston sect of Mormonism having to dress so like the way that the fundamentalist where the way that Warren Jeffs' sect dresses. They have to be like what's the word? What word am I looking for? Help me, Allie. Conservative in their dress. Not, but that's not the right word. Anyway, they do have to dress conservatively, and but it's not as old fashioned as like their actual clothes are not old fashioned in the
What word are
way.
you looking for?
It's not conservative. It's the
Modest?
modest. Thank you. Thank you. Modest. They have to draw, they have a modesty code, but they don't look like they're walking around on the set of Little House on the Prairie. That's the only way I know how to put it. I'm sorry. That's what
Okay.
their outfits remind me of, Little House on the Prairie.
There's this girl on TikTok I watch who has left the Amish, but she still does like all their cooking, like cooks the same, and she teaches everyone
I
how to
watch
cook.
her.
It's so interesting.
I watch her
Do
on
you?
the Tickety Talks.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
I
She's
watch
so
her do the cooking, and
yes.
she does you're roboting a little bit, babe, but she shows how they use the their bonnet, how they get it on, and there's like more it's not just something you
Yes.
tie on or anything, like it's got a procedure.
It's serious. She shows all kinds of cool stuff. She actually has a cookbook too. I want that cookbook because she cooks organically. You know, she makes
Ooh.
everything from scratch. She even made grape jelly from freaking concentrated grape juice once. She was like, look, this, you know, I spent $2 on this and I made 5 jars of jelly.
I'm gonna have to
Super interesting.
I'm gonna definitely have to check her comment out. So should we okay, it's 10:24 now. Let's see if this doesn't have that much more to it, I don't think. I'll skip through the questions and just go to the straight so we can just hear the call. And then we'll listen because that other call is really quick when they find the bodies. And then maybe we'll listen to a little bit of the call from between Colby and Lori before we get to court. What do you think, Allie? You down?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right.
But let me ask you something. While
Oh.
it's playing, can I call you on your cell phone real quick?
Yes.
I gotta tell. Okay, I'll
Okay.
call you and I'll
Just
join
call
right
me.
back after. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
Or,
See what he has to
Let me
say
You
for
know what I
himself
mean.
on that issue. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Recall what I'm talking about?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Judge, I'm going to stop at 16:35. Detective, who is asking who to obtain information in that snippet we just heard?
Lori was asking Chad for information.
Your Honor, I'm going to continue playing at 16:35.
You may.
So I want to know why that is 100% instead of 3% chance of having a problem.
I think he was somewhat right in that. The other aspect was other people. It was a combination.
I know it was a combination. I'm not saying there were other problems, obviously. It's of the location. But what I'm saying is that it's a combination of only, 5 problems.
I agree.
That was a big one.
It was a big one. Uh-huh.
So my faith in those kinds of guarantees are lower.
Me too.
And beggars can't be choosers. I get that, but you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It's not like I get to pick the colors of everything that I want. He's just gonna have to figure it out.
Right.
Since I'm here and I can't be in charge of the project. So
Mhm. Yeah. I've thought back on that entire scenario.
we went over the plan and the blueprint
Mm-hmm.
and
And yeah, he said that wouldn't be a problem.
right.
Yeah.
What to take on that? Why was that?
It really was.
Right.
First of all, let me just say this. The fact that they are giggling and laughing and joking about how their plan went awry and now they're in trouble, I find so effing disgusting and disrespectful. You're talking about murder, you jackasses. Ugh, they're so disgusting. But Carolina asks, I understand how Idaho is different from Arizona and vice versa. Why isn't Lori in a state mental hospital instead of prison? I would really like to know the ward case studies if anyone knows. I'll tell you why. First of all, she didn't plead not guilty by reason of insanity, and therefore the only applicable punishment for her would be life without the possibility of parole or death penalty. But because of the state being tardy and getting some things over to the defense, um, they took the death penalty off of the table. The judge did. The judge ordered that the death penalty be removed from possible punishments for Lori. Had she pled not guilty by reason of insanity or something similar, which they don't actually have that in Idaho, if I understand correctly, but it can be a mitigating factor. And the judge had the option to sentence her to a mental health hospital. But I'll tell you in my opinion, this is my opinion only. Okay. I believe that when she stood up in that courtroom during sentencing and made that allocution statement, if the judge were even teetering on the fence between sometime in a mental health hospital and sometime in prison, that allocution speech pushed him right over to send this hoe to prison for the rest of her natural life. And that's exactly what he did. That's what I think. That's all I can say about that. I don't know specifically what was going on in Judge Boyce's mind, but given his speech prior to him sentencing her, what he said, there you go.
Plus, she's awaiting another trial now, so she's not even being punished yet. What will happen, Jen? Will, after this trial, do they send her back to Idaho? Or let's say Arizona says, we want her and we want to put her to death. The crimes happened here first. Can that be debated? What happens?
I need to look that up because I'm not actually sure. Because I think there could be an argument made. Why is Arizona prosecuting her at all? She's never getting out of prison, right?
Yeah.
But that's in theory, because at the end of the day, Lori Vallow, even though she doesn't have automatic appeals the same way that Chad does, because he was sentenced to death, she is afforded the opportunity to appeal her conviction. And let's just say that one of those issues that she raises on appeal is successful and the conviction is vacated and she's retried.
That's true. But now that she's in Arizona, I'm just curious, can they claim her? And, the crimes happened there first. And what if their punishment was death?
I don't think that Arizona is seeking the death penalty against
Okay.
Lori.
I don't think so either. I think we would have known that by now, right?
Right, we would have. Yeah, they have to
Okay.
tell. The state has to give, because there's a whole lot of different elements that go into
Right.
a death penalty case. And I'll tell you this, I think if she'd have been up for death penalty, I'm not 100% certain that the judge in Arizona would have allowed her to represent herself.
I
I
don't
don't
think so.
know.
No, I don't think so, because you're right. I remember when Koberger, like, there were only certain attorneys that could
Mhm.
represent him, and so it'd probably be the same.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those rules exist across the country. There's only a hand, you when you're dealing with a death penalty case and you are there's only certain defense attorneys in each state as a whole, and all the different counties and all the things that are qualified to defend a capital punishment case. So, and each state has slightly different definitions of what they require to be considered qualified to handle a death penalty case. For example, John Pryor, who represented Chad, is actually not a death penalty qualified attorney, but he took the case.
Oh,
No
yeah.
penalty was on the table. So guess what? That's so sad.
And then at the end, remember, he tried to argue that, and they're like, wait, no, because remember, he wasn't getting paid, and he wanted off the
Yes.
case.
So Greg says, Vallow has a hearing today. What's this? This is the cocktail hour before the hearing. We're waiting for the hearing to begin. It doesn't begin until 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So this is our amuse bouche, if you would. This is
Yes.
just, we're just waiting for it to start. All right. Let's get,
Refreshing on some things.
yeah, refreshing on some things. All right, here we go. While we wait,
Okay.
this is I love that word, amuse bouche. Here we go.
Okay.
No, I don't doubt that. It's just strange how it blossomed. So
So go ahead.
you go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, so do you think it was meant to have complications and meant to go that direction?
At some point, yeah.
Well, then you should have said, hey, this is a 99% chance that we're gonna have trouble with this soil.
See, now this is about the time if I were in Lori's position, because remember, yes, this is Chad's trial, right? But when this call took place, Chad was not sitting in the clink. Obviously, he was free. Lori was the one sitting in the clink. Okay. And if I were Lori at this point, if I had asked Chad, do you think that this is essentially all part of the plan? Like I have to be where I am at, separated from you, all of these things. This was always part of the plan. We had to go through this, blah, blah, blah. This is about the time I would be like, you could have warned me, you're the seer of all the things, what's going to happen, what's coming, blah, 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 blah. And you didn't warn me that I was going to have to do some time in the clink and that we would be separated. Like I didn't make a fully informed decision. You withheld pertinent facts that would have influenced the way my decision. See, this is about the time. First of all, I would have pulled out the minute he said, we need to kill your kids. Let me start there. Okay.
Yeah.
That would have been my deal breaker. Okay. But yeah, okay, she didn't obviously, but this part I would be like, wait, what? You think this is all part? Why didn't you tell me that this was going to happen. Why are you also, Lori, why are you blaming Alex? Which I don't actually think that she's blaming Alex. I actually think that question was really for Chad, not for Alex. Why didn't you tell me that that we were going to be in a rash of shit before we got to the good life? Basically. Lori, you suck.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's all we were asking.
Well,
Could this potentially be good, or do we have to fill it with sand?
I think we sensed that we shouldn't take it lightly, and I don't think we did. I mean, we only discussed the matter with the trouble once, and I thought we cut it off and did well, and now that problem is kind of causing its own trouble for itself.
Right. But there's other things in the project where when I'm going back over it, right, that I could have easily done or been inspired to do to avoid a lot of the issues that are going to come up with that.
Yeah.
That we weren't made aware of. So you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you, Chad? She's
I do.
blaming you,
It
you
was
buffoon.
meant to go this way, you think? That's what I'm saying.
I do. It's terrible. Minor changes here and there, but overall, this was part of the blueprint. I mean, just
Yeah, it's real easy to be super nonchalant and be like, oh, it's part of the blueprint when
Well-
you're not the one sitting in prison charged or sitting in jail with the charges Lori is going to be charged with. But I'm going to stop sharing this one really quick because I think you guys get the point. Chad's an idiot. They're the worst kinds of people on the planet. But we're going to now listen to When the Shoe is on the Other Foot.
Okay. And I was looking to see, because I see people in the chat saying court is starting.
Let me look.
I think it's just Court TV is premiering their video on it, because Justin Lum said it'll be 9:15 Arizona time. So wouldn't that be 12:15 East Coast
Yes.
time right now?
Yes.
Okay, so
let me just look. Court TV,
Okay.
what Court TV is showing. First of all, let me click on their latest from Court TV. What they're showing is a trailer. They're supposed to be live at 19 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm constantly
At 12,
refreshing.
okay.
Yeah. I'm constantly refreshing their hold on a second. I'm constantly
will not miss
refreshing
it.
that. Yeah, we will not miss that. I promise you.
Oh, Justin is tweeting from inside the courthouse. I can go here. Let me grab those real quick.
Okay.
I'll just open my laptop. And then I'm going to ride down to the post office with my phone. But let me first.
All right, hang on. Let me share. We're going to listen to the call when the blueprints, as it were, now include you being arrested and charged, Chad. Let's see how you feel about that, Eeyore. Hold on. All right.
I
Just
hear
while
a
we wait.
little cutie way in that background.
You can hear
Yes.
chatting. Here we
Just
go.
barely. You can't hear what she's saying, but you can just hear like there's a voice fart. It's very cute.
Oh, thank you. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Thank you for your attendance.
Hello?
I'm not exactly sure how this happened, why the subtitles are in Espanol. Let me see. All right, there is stuff coming out of the courtroom. I'm going to share that stream right now. Hold on a second.
Okay, and I'll write to you. I'm about to read you what Justin says. You want me to?
Yes, please.
Okay, so he says, Lori Vallow Daybell hearing inside the courtroom now with some people from the public who are interested in the case. Prosecution and defense should arrive shortly. That's 28 minutes ago. He goes on to say, Court TV's attorney, Matthew Kelly, is here, as is one of Lori's counsel at her desk. Court TV wants to be the pool camera for the trial and live stream the proceeding. Vallow Daybell objects. We will hear arguments today. The prosecutor is here. She does not object to cameras, but is against the live stream. Here comes Lori Vallow 11 minutes ago, walking into the courtroom. She is smiling, holding her files, and has her hair up in a ponytail.
I told y'all, she out here looking like a whole Shih Tzu, sorry.
So it says the judge wanted to go on the record 10 minutes ago with a number of things. Matt Kelly, the attorney, started speaking 9 minutes ago about the pool. Court TV wants to use 2 cameras for the trial, and they can be operated remotely. The judge gives Lori a chance 6 minutes ago to make her argument. So they are talking in there, and there's more, but are you pulling it up, or is that?
It's on the screen right now. Yeah, this is
Oh,
live.
okay. So we might be behind a little bit then. I bet you that's what it is.
Thank you. So bright colors.
Okay.
Kelly confirms how the camera distribution works. Kay Woodcock will be a designated victim representative testifying.
Is formed by Japanese.
See, I don't know what that chatter is. You hear that? That's their live feed. So let me check another feed out. Un momentito. Go ahead.
2 minutes ago. Okay, 2 minutes ago, both parties confirmed they're ready to begin trial on March 31st. Prosecution says the case will take 2 to 3 weeks, but her experience with defendants going pro se proceedings take longer. Now the judge is discussing jury selection process 1 minute ago. So
see, that was everything that they were going to discuss. So they're having the hearing. Why are we not hearing it?
I bet you were getting it a few minutes behind or something.
We must be. Hold on. Let's see what this is.
But it started at 11:15 my time. So is part of Arizona too? No, that none of the state does it. That's weird.
I'm looking over what's happening on Court TV. They're live, but they're not talking about Vallow. So I rewound it to the part where they are talking about Vallow, and it's old stuff. It's not like live from the courtroom at all.
All right, let me see.
So that's not it.
Okay, I see another YouTube channel scheduled to go on in like 1 minute with it. Let me look.
And I don't even see it on Law and Crime. Actually, let me go look. Hold on. Let me look a different way.
Let's see. Filters, live. We have Court TV. That's what you're watching. Another channel. Let me see what these other ones are doing.
She's not worried about hiding.
Sorry.
That's all right. You're all right.
Just clicked in this random channel I don't know of who says they're streaming pretrial hearings for Lori and Courtney Clinty, but they're not on either. So yeah.
I mean, I've got it all the way live to, you see what it is. It's just this. Hold on. and it's playing. It's not muted. They're not saying anything. So hold on, let me see if we maybe. If anything changed. Mm-mm. Nope. It's live, live, live. What isn't it? There we go. I guess we're going to get it delayed.
That's what I'm thinking.
All
And
right.
You'll just look at me the whole time.
Okay.
Sorry, that's one thing that I always, we're just going to have a conversation.
Okay.
And then, because they have different camera shots they're going to
Gotcha.
take, and then when they edit it, they're
Okay.
going to cover a lot of our conversation with the video from
Oh.
that you sent, and we're going to piece it together so
Okay.
that it looks really
Oh, fantastic. Let's hear the game plan. I'm not even going to mute this. I was going to, but now I've decided not to. How about that?
I wouldn't either. We need to hear it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, when it comes to healing our minds and our bodies, we're seeing a growing trend in holistic remedies. But what does that mean exactly? Well, here to talk about some of those methods is Safia Femi. She is a holistic wellness coach and the owner of A Reflection Within Healing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you so much.
Hold on a minute. Let me pull up the Core TV chats. Oh, chat is disabled, so they can't even complain. Hold on a second. Oh dear. This
Amber,
is a
I have
problem.
so wanted to do that. A video. Amber said, Alex, you should do a video on her makeup routine. I have wanted to do that. Jen, remember talking about that forever ago?
Yes, we've been talking about, hey, let's do what can you do from prison with makeup?
Yeah, I really want to. That's a good idea. Maybe
And
I'll.
they've muted it again. It's like they realized too late. What are you doing, Court TV? Hold on a minute. Let me just go and search.
And I've got a new camera, and I'm really excited to use it. But I chipped my front tooth, and I was supposed to get it fixed yesterday. I'm rescheduling it for this week. I chickened out. I hate the dentist. It's not that bad, but on this new camera, it's like zoomed in. You'll definitely see it good. But so after I get it fixed, I can do it because you don't have to go on camera. You can just
Ooh, hold
talk
on.
about
Let
it.
me share
Research.
this tab instead so you guys can see what's happening. Let's see. This is just that. Let me scroll back up.
Yeah, I'm okay, Amber. I'm just annoyed and stressed over it because I hate the dentist, but I'm okay.
It's going to be okay, babe. I promise.
you.
You're going to do just fine. Can you even hear me? Am I unmuted? Okay, good.
Yes, I can hear
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Let's see. Ooh, it's on members only. That can't be right. Hold on. Did they put it on members only? What?
Probably.
Oh, they sure did. I'm a member at Court TV, obviously. What is even happening?
I'm not a member there.
I am, but now I feel like if they put, I'm trying to see, did they put, because usually it'll tell you that that a mod put the chat on members only. Oh, you know what? It is, okay, so oh no, wait, that's a lie. Hold on a minute. Let me switch my accounts because I'm not a member on the ward. So let me go over to YouTube on the ward and see if I can see the stream, or if because I can't even see that they put it on. members only. Usually it'll tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What the hell is going on, dude? Because the hearing's obviously happening. Probably. Let me pull up Twitter again. I closed my laptop,
Yeah.
but it's
All right. So the chat is absolutely on members only mode, and they're giving a 10-minute warning. So perhaps what was agreed is that there is not going to be a live stream. What we're going to get is after. It's, yeah. I think that's what is going to happen. We're going to get the delay. So the hearing is likely over or resolved, because how is Nate Eaton? Is that who you were watching, or was it Justin that you were looking at on the Twitters?
And Lori says, yeah, I'm looking at Justin.
Okay.
They're talking about jury selection and that kind of stuff and what the camera feed will do. And look what Lori says. There could be people who see her name and want to be a part of the jury and will say they don't know who she is to be in the pool. Lori Vallow Daybell tells the judge that in Idaho's group how do you say that? Vordaer? I can't say it.
Voir dire.
Thank you. They went through 1,900 people, and she would prefer individual, so jurors don't learn details through group panels. Judge is not against it, but it's a wait and see for now. State says they can provide the witness list by the end of the month. Prosecution requests half a day on April 24th. They're both ready to begin on 3/31. Lori Vallow Daybell confirms jury selection begins on 3/31, but in-person proceedings happen on April 1st through the 3rd. So it looks like it's over, but hold on. Let me just go back.
So, Greg, there will be a stream, but I think how they're going to do it is how they did it at the beginning with the Idaho 4, where after the proceedings had ended, they're allowed to stream the proceedings. So it's not, there is a live stream, but the courtroom proceedings have already happened, is what I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And so Court TV, it says Court TV wants to use 2 cameras for the trial. They can be operated remotely. Judge now gives Lori a chance to make her argument. She used a couple of case examples regarding too much publicity. Judge says there will be no media coverage for the jury selection, and there will be more in his order regarding cameras and live stream.
I mean,
so it will be in the order.
Yeah. Okay. So look, I get, once the trial happens, the jury is sat. So Lori arguing, I went to hear her ridiculous argument for why she doesn't want cameras in. What's her, cameras in the courtroom during the trial? Like, the jury's not allowed to watch media. And even if there wasn't a live stream every day of the trial, there's going to be media in the courtroom who will do live updates of the proceedings. So that's whatever, Lori. Like you can't, I don't know what your beef is there, right? So then you have, obviously, jury proceedings are not televised. They're not going to, I mean, sometimes like you can hear the questions when it gets to be the bigger, like when it's the group, but that's rare. And what is your problem, Lori? How come you hauled your cookies up on Dateline? Is it you object to Court TV themselves being the pool, and you want it to be a different, maybe a local news, whatever? Is it just simply Court TV that you have an objection to, or is it cameras in general? That's what I don't understand.
It says they're talking about a delayed feed. I don't think they're going to close the it looks just from his tweets, they're going to close the cameras, but there is some other stuff. It says 200 jurors will get an e-questionnaire. Both will get that by the end of this week, or both parties will get that. And then the jurors receive that on March 24th through the 27th. They did put Lori's name on the questionnaire. The judge said, but he normally does not do that. But that is so if jurors know who she is. That's why Lori said they could see her name. She said she has a concern. Here's one of her concerns, that they'll be zooming in on her desk and her notes. And
They're
the
not
judge
allowed
said,
to do that.
yeah, he says it's already in his draft of his order that there won't be zooming in on images of notes on tables.
Yeah, I mean, they don't allow that, Lori.
Oh, wait, hold on. It's not just her notes. Also, she doesn't want them to focus on her face the entire time.
If I was aging like milk, I probably wouldn't either. I don't know
Yeah,
what else
but
to say. Here we
when
go,
you
you
commit a
guys.
crime
Here's
like
the feed.
this,
Yeah.
yes, here we go. When
Here's
you
the
commit a
feed.
crime like this, that's what happens. Sorry.
And also, Lori, I could understand your lawyers raised that issue during your trial in Idaho, right? We get it. Okay. And they didn't. There were, there was no cameras allowed. So I don't know what you're going to be both the defendant and your own attorney. You're going to make opening statements. You're going to make closing statements. You're going to be able to raise objections, and you're going to be able to directly and direct examine and cross examine witnesses. I don't know what the F you want, lady. What are they supposed to film you like Letitia from the back the whole time? Get bent.
Here we go.
Here we go. I don't know what's going on, but here we are.
It looks like you were right. It's going to be a delayed thing. We're going to get it a few minutes behind.
Okay.
That's what I think. Because look on the screen, coming up, pre-trial hearing. So it looks like they... I bet you that's why the hour changed at the last minute.
Yep.
Wow, it got pushed back an hour.
Yep. I mean, you're so worried about, pretrial publicity that you did an interview with Dateline. An interview that I would like to remind you. Let me Nancy Grace you just a second. Let me refresh your recollection, Laurie. An interview that you had no control over the editing. You have no idea how much or how little or what if anything you said that they were going to show. You have no control over that, but you're worried about pre-trial publicity. You're I wonder what their state seal means. I'm going to look it up. God enriches.
Wow.
Thank you, Pamela, for becoming a member. Welcome to the ward. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much.
I gotta run back down to the post office while we're
like literally or in your car.
In my car. It's only 5 minutes down the road, but I can't run there. It takes me a while. It starts delayed, but we already know a little bit, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and let me just say that this is the type of professionalism and teamwork that you will only find at the Ward and Alex Erickson. It is only in our cahooters that we are that you can get this. We're special
Exactly.
cahooters.
And if you
Our-
watched here today, you got it first.
Exactly. And we're cahooters. We use our cahooterisms in a good way. We use it for the good. We use it for the benefit of everybody. We are not cahooters for evil.
No, the cahooters or cahooting it. What'd you say? Cahootisms.
Our cahootisms are for good.
Oh, Queen of Hearts, congratulations.
Congratulations. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. And also, hey, 99 problems, but crime ain't one. It's been a minute. Good to see you. Here's the shuffling of shackles, which tells me they be bringing in Lori.
Did you see on Dateline where she's like, I have to wear these?
Yes.
On this talking about the shackles.
All right, here we go.
Please be seated. Let me just go on here.
All this talking and entertaining and waiting has made me need a human break. I will be RB.
Okay.
All right, this is State of Arizona versus Vallow Daybell, CR 2021 001704, CR 2022 001242.
Pretty K on behalf of the state. For the record, the next of kin in the 2021 and the victim in the 2022 are appearing virtually.
Good morning, Your Honor. Pamela Hicks, Advisory Counsel on behalf of Ms. Daybell, and Robert Abernathy is out of the office today.
Okay. You want to announce?
Vallow Daybell, on
Thank you.
behalf of myself.
Vallow Daybell, on behalf of Shih Tzus everywhere. Fuck. What does that hairdo, Lori?
My question is if there's a single pool camera, I don't know if there's a...
On
Thank you.
behalf of myself.
All right, we have a number of things to get through this morning. The first thing I want to address is there's been multiple media requests. I don't know if there's a representative of the media that can address this, but my question is if there's a single pool camera, is there some sort of agreement or cooperation between other media outlets to use a single camera?
Your Honor, if I may, Matthew Kelly, I represent Court TV, and our understanding is that, yes, there is a pool arrangement, and Court TV has asked to be the pool for the trials in this matter. I believe that that request is pending with the PIO. Regardless, the media that are interested in camera coverage do have a pool arrangement.
Okay. I know that there was, I don't know if it was Court TV or another outlet requested multiple cameras and a still camera. I'm inclined to just allow a single camera. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, Your Honor. Court TV would prefer to have two of its own cameras. One of its own cameras is perfectly fine. Court TV's equipment is actually smaller than the camera we have here today and can be operated remotely, so it is much more unobtrusive. Court TV also has, in the past, used the feed from one of the cameras here for the webcasting of hearings for its purposes as well. Court TV will position its camera so that jurors are not in the field of view and would not use any of these cameras that have a view of the jurors.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else here from the media that wants to be heard? I don't hear any. State want to take a position?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I know the defendant filed an objection. I've read your objection. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, Your Honor, I'd just like to add some case law to that. Shepard versus Maxwell, 337 U.S. The United States Supreme Court, Mr. Justice Clark, held that failure of the state judge in murder prosecution to protect defendant from inherently prejudicial publicity, which saturated the community to control disruptive influences in courtroom, deprived the defendant of a fair trial consistent with due process. So that and Arizona versus Cheney, which was the defendant is entitled to fair and impartial trial when publicity pervades court proceedings to the extent that the proceedings were prejudiced to the defendant. So obviously you read my objection, so I just wanted to add those on the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your prior attorneys had filed a series of objections to media coverage media being allowed in the courtroom, and I made a prior ruling that was filed back September 4th, which was fairly comprehensive. I am inclined to allow one pool camera. I'll issue an order with more detailed findings later today or tomorrow. But essentially, there won't be any media coverage during the jury selection process, and I'll put the reasons for that in the order. So that's, again, I'll issue a more detailed order later today or tomorrow. All right.
Your Honor, there's also the issue of whether Court TV will be allowed to live stream the trial. In other words, broadcast online in real time. Court TV would prefer to do that.
Are you able to, are they able to do a 1 or 2 minute delay?
Certainly, we can certainly do that. I just want to inform Your Honor, however, that when we share the footage with the pool, we can't delay that footage. So your order would need to require that all media receiving the feed delay it by however long you wish to delay it.
And the camera, the pool camera would be simultaneously distributing that feed to whatever media requests it?
That's correct. We have the capability to distribute to up to 30 or 40 different media outlets, so we have plenty of bandwidth to do so.
It's prejudicial and it's going to be
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get down to business on some of the.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
Could I just add that we want to make sure that the cameras aren't going to be zooming in at any level to get to our notes and the things that are going to be on the table. I also previously, what has happened before is that they just have the camera on my face the entire trial. So I think when the judge is speaking, the judge needs to be on the camera. When the state is speaking, they need to be on camera. If we can add that to the order, I think.
All right. Well, my draft already includes that there'll be no zooming in on counsel table, anything on counsel table, or anything being handled, notes or that sort of thing being handled by any of the parties or the attorneys. As far as what they focus on, they'll be limited to focusing on the parties, myself, the witness, depending on the witness. I need to ask the state about that in a second, but they won't be allowed to broadcast any image of any juror. While I'm on that subject, let me ask the state, are you seeking any sort of protective order when a named victim testifies?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Will you let me know if that changes?
Yes, I will.
Do you have do you have the names of your designated victim or victim representatives that might be testifying?
Kay Woodcock is a statutory legal victim and will be testifying.
Is that the only one?
At this time, yes.
Okay.
For this trial, I should say.
For this trial, okay.
Just briefly, what do you guys think the over/under is for Lori Vallow Daybell at some
Let me
point?
ask this, are the parties ready?
Hold on, at some point yell out "Gucci Gucci" when she's representing herself during trial? Just curious, because she looks like the demon version of Charo.
To proceed around March 31st to April 1st?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me ask the state next. Earlier during these proceedings in past hearings, you indicated you thought the state's case in chief would take 2 weeks You requested yesterday to screen for 6 weeks.
Your Honor, I did say 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I did say that while we had a defense attorney on and not Ms. Vallow herself. I am familiar with other pro per trials where generally the timelines are in excess of those with a defense attorney assigned. So in order to ensure that we aren't asking a jury later to stay longer than we pre-screen them, I believe it would be appropriate to screen them for 6 weeks.
So now that you're gearing up for trial and maybe you have a better idea, how long do you think your case in chief would take with a normal amount of cross? I know that's hard to estimate.
And again, I would say 2 to 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
That would be at the outset of it.
Okay.
Probably, yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Let me ask advisory council, if we do an questionnaire, would you be assisting Ms. Daybell with your laptop in going through the answers that are received?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, assuming we do all of that, because a lot of times the courts send us back to our office to go through that. So if we do that here, then yes, of course, she's welcome to use our laptops.
Right. My plan is to...
Just before the judge makes his, whatever it is that he's going to say, I would say that the caveat to that is that Lori is allowed to see with her eyes, not with her hands, the laptop. I wouldn't want Lori's evil juju touching anything of mine. In fact, I would advise the advisory council to scooch a little farther away from Miss Daybell or Miss Vallow Daybell. There we go. That's all I wanted to say. I have to pause for some fair use commentary. Here we go.
We can do jury selection in the South Court Tower 5C. I know that the state has requested that the entire trial be held there. We can't do it. We can do jury selection there. I can give you rooms here for your victims and witnesses as need be that are outside this courtroom that we'll have. We can have them stream in if you want, depending on, I guess, who the witness is or who's back there.
And obviously, Your Honor, I don't know if the public will be attending this or not. This also is a little different in that even in the mornings, the jury is going to be potentially out here while the court is having morning calendar. If there's media out there as well, I'm just trying to protect the integrity of the trial by ensuring that the public, the media, are not interacting with witnesses at any time while they're out there. It's difficult when it's a very small hallway and very limited rooms to put them in. Obviously, I need a room for the victims that's separate from any witnesses.
Well, we have on this floor 6 rooms, 5 or 6 rooms throughout. We have 3 right behind this courtroom, and we can utilize them as need be to ensure that there's no improper contact between media or the public in general and any victims or witnesses. We can also ensure that the jurors don't have contact. If that means we bring them up in a separate elevator and have them assemble somewhere else, we can accomplish that. So my plan will be to do an questionnaire, remote questionnaire for the first 200 jurors. That questionnaire, I need to get a final joint pretrial statement with the list of witnesses to include the names of witnesses in that, but I'd like to send out a draft to everyone by the end of this week. Let me bring up my calendar.
Just briefly, while the judge is bringing up his calendar, Rye says, hey, she still has the name Vallow. Actually, Lori requested to be addressed and that all the legal stuff be addressed by her legal government married name, which is Daybell. So there's that. I think that this goes to the way that everything was originally filed, and that's why they keep Vallow in there. But also, I just want to answer this to Shaggy, just in case you guys saw it in the chat, but maybe missed my answer. Shaggy asked, if Lori testifies, will she ask her own self questions? And the answer to that is no. That is where her advisory council comes in. And should Lori decide to testify, which, I mean, I think she should keep with the theme of bad decisions, and because she chose to represent herself, go ahead and haul her cookies up on that stand and let the advisory council ask her questions. That's what will happen.
We would probably send that out to the first 200 jurors around next Thursday, March 20th. Yeah. Oh, I guess they can't send it out. Okay, so we can send out that the 24th to the 27th, meaning it would be cut off on the 27th. The answers to those questionnaires would be emailed to the parties. That would give the parties the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st to go through those answers. We would meet on the morning of the 1st, discuss who needs to be let go based on those answers. Also on the morning of the 1st, a number of walk-in jurors that for whatever reason don't fill out the questionnaire in advance would come in to the jury room, the jury assembly room that morning and fill out the questionnaire. So that morning we'd also deal with those walk-in answers as best we can. Oh, that's right. I back up. The initial answers for the remote, we're going to meet on the 31st. Let those people go. Whoever we don't let go will be told to report on the afternoon of the 1st. On the afternoon of the 1st, we'll be dealing with the walk-ins that come in the morning of the 1st. And the people that we haven't let go the afternoon of the 1st, that will be in-person voir dire as needed. If we need to, which I anticipate we probably will, we'll do another 200 jurors on the 2nd.
I think that Harley.
If need be, we have another 100 jurors on the 3rd.
Okay, they're just talking about jury selection. So I think to answer Harley, I think that they just want to show that she's in shackles. That's it. That's all.
To do it remote. So we may have to, what'll happen is on the 1st, all those people, after they give their answers, will be randomized. The list will be re-randomized. As we proceed through the 2nd, those people get added onto the bottom of the list. So as soon as we get 12 jurors that qualify, that everyone's happy with, that don't have issues, plus probably 3 or 4 alternates. So as soon as we get to about 15 or 16, we're pretty much done with jury selection. So we don't have to necessarily question all 200 of those people. We can do panels of 20 or something like that. I anticipate losing quite a large number of people just based on prior media coverage and people already having some sort of opinion about the case. I normally wouldn't include a defendant's name in the e-questionnaire that goes out remotely, but on this case I'm inclined to, just because that's what we want to know. We want to know if people have heard about the defendant and whether or not they've heard about, or if they've formed an opinion about her or this case prior to that. Does anyone have an issue with that, State?
No, Your Honor, I think that that's a good idea. That's going to be at least one of the initial reasons to strike a lot of jurors.
My only issue with it, Your Honor, is that it could be bad both ways, right? If you put the name in there, if you don't put the name in there. It's been my experience that people will say they haven't heard when they know who that really is, and there's people that will want to be on this jury just for this purpose.
Well,
it's going to be complicated.
all the research indicates that these e-questionnaires, people are more likely to give honest, candid answers than if they're in a group of people and they feel sort of that peer pressure of what's a good answer and what's a bad answer. Your name's going to come up sooner or later, so I would prefer to just get it out in front of the potential jurors to begin with. My e-questionnaire is going to be fairly basic. It's going to focus on qualifications, the charges, the witnesses, and then obviously whether they have an opinion about you or this case. For the people that make it past that level, we'll question them more thoroughly in person.
And like you were saying, as far as group kind of voir dire, in my experience, we went through 1,900 jurors in my last trial, so it would be good to do individual voir dire if we can, than group voir dire, because they learn things just in the voir dire and it disqualifies a lot of jurors.
I'm not opposed to that, but that's going to be sort of a day of play it by ear sort of situation, whether we do small panels or just go a single person. If we go single person, our jury selection could extend into the next week. But if we're able to seat a jury, I would expect opening statements on April 7th, somewhere around there.
Mark your calendar, Allie. April 7th, babe.
Indicated, I have it. There was just one day in April that you wanted to go a half day.
Correct, Your Honor. The 24th.
All right. When can you file some sort of pretrial statement that sets forth all your potential witnesses and a statement of the facts?
Probably by Thursday.
All right. Does the state anticipate any presentation of autopsy photos or crime scene photos? In other words, I'm trying to gauge, I would usually put in a question about jurors may be required to view evidence that shows wounds or that sort of thing. Is there anyone that's unwilling to look at this type of evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. We will have both, obviously, with self-defense, trajectory, and those injuries are very relevant.
Okay, so I will include a question about that type of evidence. Sometimes jurors don't want to look at that type of evidence. So, all right. Any questions or concerns about our jury selection, the proposed trial dates from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Just so I have it clear, Your Honor, we're going to start on the 31st with jury selection. Is that correct?
We'll be meeting on the 31st,
Okay.
And then actual dealing with in-person jurors on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Okay.
Let me ask advisory council, are there any dates that advisory council would need to be dark?
I am fine for April. I didn't hear back from Robert. I would think.
Please let us know, because in that e-questionnaire, I'm going to put in a proposed schedule. I don't know that I'm going to screen for a full 6 weeks based on the state's anticipated presentation, maybe 5 weeks. So into let us know the schedule into the first week or two of May.
As soon as I get an answer from him, I'll email your judicial assistant.
All right.
And one more time, Your Honor, so the remote question is going out on March 24th. All answers have to be back by the 27th, so we will get them on the 27th? Or
You'll either get them late the 27th or first thing the 28th.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You should get them some point on the 27th.
Just so we can plan, because it sounds like we'll just go out to Estrella and go through these.
Yeah, they're closing it at like 8 a.m. on the 27th.
You'll have to have a internet connection.
Yeah, we
out there?
can use
Okay.
our laptops out there.
Okay.
Because you want to be ready to discuss everything on March 31st.
Yeah, and
That's
if the parties have an obvious, there's some jurors that are going to be obvious that need to be let go. If you're ready for that, that's always helpful. I know it's a little bit more difficult with pro per defendant in consulting like that. All right, let me get to.
Just as an aside, I will address the spouse question because I looked it up as it pertains to Arizona when all
All
of
right, the
this is
defendant
done.
had
That is all.
filed 2 separate motions for specific discovery. The first dealt with communication between the assigned deputy county attorney and law enforcement agencies. I've read and the second one was, well, let's deal with the first one. I've read the response from the state. Basically, your response is you have disclosed all those communications. There are no other communications.
correct, Your Honor.
All right. So let me ask the defendant.
Yeah, we received 6 email communications, and they were in a short time frame, not the full time frame. And it seems to me that in the last email ends in kind of a question that was probably answered, and then there's like no more communication. So it doesn't make sense that there's no more. We asked for all of them if they could be provided to us. We don't understand why they're not being provided to us, and what the state is possibly hiding at this point, and they can't just turn it over so that we can go through them. It's been, long over a month since we filed that motion, so we would just like them to please turn over whatever they have left.
All right, and I'll ask the deputy county attorney. I imagine some communications are by phone, so in other words, we're not captured.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, based on the state's avowal, I don't know, I can't tell them to turn over something they say they don't have, so. I'll find that the state, based on their avowal, and officers of the court have complied with the request. The second one is a little more, I wanted to get clarification on. That was defendant's request for video interviews, but it seemed like based on the state's response that there was some confusion about what was a interview recorded in an interrogation room situation versus a body cam. Did the state's response provide clarification to you?
No. So the body cams were turned over, and they're in like 12-minute increments. There's like 4 different body cams. This was a full 2-hour video that was released by Gilbert Police to the public, and it's online. So I would like that video of the interrogation room, the full 2-hour one, to be turned over to the defense.
All right, so do you know what that is?
Your Honor, based upon the defendant's reply, she's requesting a video interview from the 31st. Those are on body cam and were turned over to the defense. We have requested everything from, I think that one was from actually the Gilbert Police Department. A lot of these overlap. So I am not sure what the defendant is.
Who was the person being interviewed, and you said the 2-hour interrogation that Gilbert released?
So it's myself and my daughter, Tylee Ryan, and Melanie Gibb.
And is that in an interrogation type room?
Yeah, it was at the Gilbert Police Station, and I didn't realize we were being filmed that whole time. I didn't know we were being filmed, but we were being filmed in that room.
And are you familiar with a video in a room?
Yes, that's what we have disclosed, is an interview of, it is
And you're saying you don't have it?
defendant, her daughter, and another.
And you're saying you haven't gotten that?
They
Now-
have given about 12.
Hold on a minute, Lori, excuse me. Melanie Gibb is the other person that the state did not mention, but that's who's in it. We've all seen it.
12-minute body cam videos of the policemen's body cams that were in the room with us, and they go in and out of the room at different times. So there's different body cams. They're all mixed up. It's not the full entire one, and the full entire My understanding is that the full entire 2-hour interrogation room video from the ceiling is available online, but I don't have it in Discovery.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. So did the state disclose not a body cam, but an interrogation from up in the corner of a room vantage point?
I mean, we disclosed a lot. Let me see if I can find out. We did. Yes, my paralegal is present here as well, and she has advised that we did. Your Honor, we disclosed over.
Can your paralegal provide a Bates number or something so that maybe the defense just has overlooked it?
Let me see if we can find the actual,
Maybe the discovery notice.
discovery letter.
Okay.
Rachel, to answer your question, to me it seemed new. I don't recall the Johnny Cash outfit in prior interviews, but a couple of people in chat said no, it wasn't new. It was part of old archival footage. I'll say this. I'm going to go back and look at it because typically they'll denote that it's, when it's an interview like that, they will denote that it's archival footage. So I'm going to go back and look just to be sure.
She wasn't aware she was being filmed, you know.
Right.
Like, okay, too damn bad you were. It's a police station.
Exactly. Like, I mean, come on, Lori. Chad didn't tell you that you were going to be filmed? Did he forget that detail too? Is that part of the blueprints that he, the side blueprints, the special blueprints, the blueprints in fine print that he neglected to tell you about? Get out of here, Lori. And yes, we've all seen that interrogation video. And that is a huge part of this case because she's being charged with conspiracy in Charles Vallow's death,
Your Honor,
murder.
all we do have is the 4 body cam. We can ask again and see if they have a overall.
Are you getting this? Have you seen this, or someone told you that there's this video?
My mitigator showed me part of that video. Yes, with my previous team.
Well, there
That's
is.
how
I mean,
know about
she's
it.
right,
Otherwise, I
though,
wouldn't know
right?
about
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
She said, "Do you know this is online?" I didn't have any idea.
And you're sure it's the Gilbert PD on that date?
Well, yeah.
Correct.
All right, I'll ask the state to follow up with Gilbert on that.
We will, Your Honor.
If
The
that
one
is
that's
out
online,
there,
is it from a
obviously it
ceiling
should have been
camera?
disclosed.
Though?
Let me look.
Yeah.
All right, remind me to
Please
follow
hold.
up on that next time we are together. Next, I have a motion limine, 2 motions in limine, one regarding Alex Cox statements and one regarding Tylee Ryan's statements. All right, so let me ask the defendant. Generally, any hearsay is defined as any out-of-court statement offered for the truth of the matter asserted. The state is referencing what are definitely out-of-court statements. Obviously, there's some exceptions to the hearsay rule, and there are other things that are characterized as non-hearsay. So how do you think, let's first talk about Alex Cox. How do you think the statements fit into your either one of those exceptions or non-hearsay?
I feel like the state is blanketing that whole thing, and obviously it's like a case-by-case basis, right, on these statements. So there is the police interview of Alex Cox that I do not think falls under hearsay.
Why not?
Why does it not fall under hearsay?
Yeah.
Because we're not using it for the truth of the matter asserted. We're using it in corroboration of the circumstances. Everyone came in and told their same story that corroborates different facts in there, not for the whole truth of the matter.
Aren't you arguing that what he said was true?
I can't say whether another person says that it's true or not, but I'm saying what he said and what my daughter said and what I said in those 3 police interviews determined what the police said, how the police acted, what they did after that, their next steps, how they treated the entire case like it was self-defense. All of those are relevant to the defense that it was self-defense. So, yes, I think they're for that purpose. But I also think that Alex's statements also have a lot of the exceptions apply. 803, 804, there's a lot of exceptions that also apply to some of his statements and not all of his statements.
Such as what? Which statements do you think they apply to?
I specifically his statements made on body cam to police in the driveway, specifically his.
I don't know what the statements are, so that's what I'm asking. What specific statements do you think are allowed to come in under the rules of evidence?
I think under 8031, the present sense impression is his statements made to police officers at the house.
A present sense impression is where you're actually observing something and you're talking about it as you see it happen. So, isn't he saying, again, I don't know what the statements are, but is he saying what happened prior? Or is he saying
yes,
something
prior.
that he's, okay,
Correct,
so it's not a
prior.
present sense impression.
Okay.
What else?
Then I think it falls under 8032, excited utterance. He was under the stress of the whole situation when he made those statements.
What was his demeanor when he made those statements?
Upset.
What's the specific statement?
I shot my brother-in-law in self-defense. I got hit in the head with a bat. There was an altercation. I don't know what all the statements are, but.
How long after the incident did he make these statements?
Immediately after, as far as I know.
Well, immediately to some people means 2 seconds, to other people it means 30 minutes. Tell me what immediately means to you.
As soon as the police arrived.
I don't know did they arrive 30 minutes after the incident? 10 minutes, an hour?
I was not there. I do not know what time they arrived.
All right. So you're asserting excited utterance. Some of these statements come in. What else?
8033, the mental, emotional, and physical condition, because it shows his state of mind, which was scared at the time.
Any others?
Yes. 8035B, the recorded recollection. I know that in the state's reply to my response, they did not think that 805 applied because A, B, and C, but I did not see an and after A, so my assumption was that B and C, since there's an and after B, were what needed to be put together. So B was made or adopted by this witness when the matter was fresh in the witness's memory and accurately reflects the witness's knowledge. So I felt like 803B5B, the recorded recollection of his police interview and the body cam footage, applies under that exception.
All right. Generally, 8035 is a recorded recollection, meaning it's something they wrote down, or maybe they recorded their voice saying something. Let me ask the state to respond. We're just talking about the Alex Cox.
Hang on. I think Lori is misunderstanding and misinterpreting the 803B. I think it isn't something that a third party recorded. It is something that the person themselves records. It's a recording of their own statement, meaning they themselves wrote it down. I did find the body cams that she's talking about, Lori is talking about. There are only 2. body cams from that day at the Gilbert police. I didn't realize, or I'd forgotten, or whatever. These other interviews that they're talking about that pertain to Charles Vallow's death that were done happened at the Chandler Police Department. So that's the answer to that. Look, my co-panelist, Alex Erickson. Do you have anything to add, babe?
No, just listening. So the one can you say that again though? You checked the interview footage and it's
okay. I'll show you right now.
Okay.
So, where is it at? I just had it. For fuck Pete's sake. Hold on. I'll show you guys. It's right here. I'll show you this tab just really quickly. We'll go right back. Okay, so these are the raw Lori Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and Melanie Gibb at Gilbert Police Department on 1/31/19. Okay, there's two of them. One is 13 minutes and some odd seconds, and the other is 12. That's all that there is. The other interviews are from when at Chandler Police Department. So
okay, interesting.
Right. So I think
so. She's wrong.
She's wrong.
Sorry.
So okay. So this is how it happened. Remember, Charles Vallow, prior to his death, contacted the police department. They came out. He was worried about Tylee. He was worried about JJ, and he was worried about Lori's state of mind. That's the Gilbert Police Department body cam interviews that I just showed you guys. The other longer interviews are from the actual day that Charles Vallow was murdered, and that's from the Chandler Police Department. So there you go.
Okay, good to know. Interesting.
That's the research I did. Here we go.
Well, thank you. Okay.
Here we go.
Statements.
Your Honor,
Maybe I should start with,
Yeah.
does the state intend on introducing any statements from Alex Cox?
Your Honor, I haven't decided if we will at this point. I can say with 100% certainty, we will not be admitting his interview by police that was done at after 10 o'clock in the morning. We don't.
Are you referencing what time he was interviewed versus the time of the incident?
Let me say it this way. So the state has laid out in its motion the timeline. So that is actually in our motion. We show that when
8:30 a.m.
is
roughly.
when the 911 call was made. So we have soon after that the police arrived and there's body cam video from that interview. Then Alex Cox is later brought to the police station and there is a in-depth interview with detectives at a little after 10 o'clock in the morning.
So you may or may not be attempting to introduce statements at or around the time that the police responded?
Correct, Your Honor. If we do, those would be brought in as co-conspirator statements against a party interest. So obviously the state can bring in statements that are hearsay against a party.
Right. But I guess, is the state intending on introducing any statements of Tylee?
No, Your Honor. Tylee made no statements at the scene other than giving her general biographical information on body cam. Her entire statements were made at the police station, again, after 10 in the morning.
All right. So on your response as it relates to Tylee, you say, again, present sense impression. I don't think it's a present sense impression. You also argue excited utterance. What else?
8033, which is mental, emotional, and physical condition, with the same thing, her state of mind, then being scared. And also 8043, statement against interest. they use that statement in the indictment where Tylee says that Charles says, if you hit me with that bat, you're going to jail. That's the part where she's nervous in her interview, saying she's scared to tell the police that she's the one that brought in the bat. So state of mind and the statement against interest both apply to Tylee's police interview.
All right, anything else? Does the state want to be heard further on that?
Your Honor, the only further thing I think that the state will bring in is that obviously the defendant has been found guilty of killing both Tylee, other individuals, but in this case, the defendant cannot benefit from killing a witness and then later try to bring in their statements for their benefit. So in addition to none of her statements being admissible under the rules of evidence, as any of the exceptions that the defendant has done, we also believe that it would be improper for her to be allowed to bring them in under that theory.
In other words, there's been a judicial finding that the reason Tylee's unavailable as a witness is because of the defendant's actions.
Correct, Your Honor. There has been a jury trial and she has been convicted of that.
All right. All right, the court is on a preliminary basis precluding references to Tylee Ryan's statements, any statement made by Tylee Ryan. If there's some reason where a door might be open to any of those statements coming in, the defendant's requested to make a request outside the presence of the jury regarding that, and we'll deal with that outside the presence of the jury. On Alex Cox, I think that's probably going to be more of a statement by statement basis, but I'm skeptical of any statements coming in hours after the initial police response. I think we'll deal with what statements may or may not come in when the police first arrived on scene and or the 911 at the time that they're attempted to be introduced. All right, I also received yesterday state's notice of disclosure and request for disclosure. Did you get a copy of that?
No.
You haven't seen that yet?
No.
I'm sorry, the
State's notice of disclosure and request for disclosure. I didn't realize it was actually filed in January, so you should have seen that. I misspoke when I said I got it yesterday. It was filed January 16th. Have you seen that?
I'm looking it up.
what are we?
Dates
I
disclosure.
think that the court may have ruled on that one, Your Honor.
Well, I don't think I ruled on, at the very end, you're requesting she submit to fingerprints, palm print, footprint.
Oh, that's, okay. I think that was fired, yes, significantly. So that would be to tie her to any of her.
Is that for other conviction purposes?
Correct, yes.
All right. And when did you want to do that?
What is that about?
If we are going to be here on the 18th, we can take them then.
I don't know that we need to be here on the 18th.
And obviously, I was unaware we were going to set this because we set it just recently, so. I don't know if we can keep that on just to take that.
Okay, what about the state, you requested copies of any recorded statements made during interviews conducted outside of your presence. Is there any of those, were there any interviews conducted by you or your team? Were there any interviews conducted of any witnesses out by you or your team that you're aware of?
So far, not that I'm aware of.
All right. Do you plan on calling any experts to testify?
We do plan on calling one expert
Who's that? Has it been disclosed to the state?
We are, yes, we're working on that today as an addendum to the
Who's that?
witness list that, Lonnie Dworkin.
All right. That's your investigator?
No, my investigator, Jeff White.
Oh.
That's the expert.
What kind of,
Yes, Lori, what kind of
Expert is Lonnie
expert? So I can Google.
Phone and digital.
I think I've.
Ah, okay.
Are you aware of that?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Expert reports and disclosures are due 30 days before trial generally under the rules. So
Lonnie is
if you're planning on
hold
using
on.
that witness, you need.
Lonnie would be the expert witness that Lori intends to call to analyze the digital forensics. Although today, as you all know, is the 11th of March, 2025, and you are required, as under rules of evidence and criminal procedures, to give the opposing party, in this case the state, a notice of 30 days from the report. Like you have 30 days prior to, you have to give them 30 days notice of the report. Before trial, they need to have an opportunity to review the report, to potentially depose the witness, and also consult with their own digital forensics expert to refute what the findings of your expert. So come on, Lori, you're the smartest person in every room all the time. How didn't you know this? Oh, is this more of the blueprints that Chad didn't discuss with you?
To get that disclosed right away, and I may have to take that up depending on what the state's position is. But
Your
at this
Honor,
point,
that
it's technically late.
may be another reason to be here on the 18th. Obviously, if that's disclosed this week, we can potentially address that issue on the 18th.
All right. Let me ask the defendant, do you have a position on the taking of prints and photographs? Generally, identification type things are permitted over any defendant objections. So do you have a record you want to make on that?
Not really.
All right. I don't see any reason
For what
why.
purpose? I don't understand.
In the event that you're convicted, it may be used to prove other convictions.
The floor, call me Sadie, to answer Call Me
That
Sadie's question. If Lori and Sarah Boone were in the same room, who is smarter? The floor. The floor is smarter than both of those two.
Is the state planning on proceeding in the second trial, regardless of what happens in the first trial?
I believe so, yes, Your Honor.
And how much time would you need between the conclusion of the first trial and the start of the second trial?
Your Honor, I would say at least 30 days, since we do need to actually subpoena out-of-state witnesses for the second trial.
I'm wondering if it wouldn't benefit everyone to go ahead and set that a provisional second trial date now.
That's fine, Your Honor.
May 11th is still my last day.
Is that second trial, how long do you think it would take the state to
Probably
present?
about 3 weeks as well.
Similar?
Fair point, Rachel Lee, who says actually the only smart thing Sarah
Your Honor,
Boone
I'd like to
did,
remind the court that the last day is May 11th.
that Sarah Boone did, was not want to represent, but it's just because she's lazy. Here we go.
Well, I'll probably exclude some time based on the fact that you can't do two trials at once.
The state could combine the trials and do two trials at once, but they don't want to do two trials at once, so it really violates my speedy trial rights if they do not give me a speedy trial by May 11th for both cases. Not to mention that they did combine all the discovery into one case. They didn't give me two different separate discoveries for two different cases, which would be much more convenient considering the voluminous amount of discovery that they piled onto us.
Does the state want to do combine both cases?
Excuse me. Who is us? Who is we, Lori? It's just you.
Your Honor, if the court gave us.
I've
a little
been
time to
wondering
work it
that
out and
too.
The defendant wants to join them. I mean, obviously.
Ooh. Lori. Did you hear that, Allie? Allie, come back.
Sorry. No, I didn't because I was finished. I was still on the point of I've been wondering who she means by we too, but what did they say?
Lori wants to combine both trials.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
Me too.
I don't know that.
The normal defense attorney, and I don't mean that in any way, normally they would be severed.
Severed because you don't want one jury to know about the other.
Correct.
Two separate charges and have a harmful rub-off effect of the evidence in one case affecting the evidence in another case.
Correct, Your Honor. That's why they were filed separately. But if the defendant wants them together, the state would have to request this be pushed back slightly so that we could then get all the witnesses for that trial together.
No, don't do
Since
that.
they were not subpoenaed for this trial. But if that's what the defendant wants to join them, and she understands that prejudice and that she's then going to be waiving that prejudice with that, then the state is certainly willing to do that. But we would then have to request to have that trial, or this trial date moved back to allow us to get the other witnesses lined up.
You idiot, Lori.
That's not what I was saying to combine them. I'm just saying give me my second trial by May 11th. So the court can figure that out.
Oh,
all right. Well,
yes, Lori. You're hold on a minute. Lori, you're asking the court to do something, right? You're making a request of the court. It's never a good idea to get persnickety in your tone when making that request. I don't care if you're Jesus's favorite or not. You still need to have manners. Rude.
Trial over the defendant's objection. Primarily, again, the defendant can't try both cases at the same time. Secondly, I'm not sure how much actual prejudice there is with a time violation in the sense that you wouldn't be released from custody anyway.
Sure wouldn't.
And thirdly, the rule for time violations under Rule 8, I think it's 8.6 is that any violation should be a dismissal without prejudice unless there's an actual prejudice shown, in which case the state could just refile the charge. Regardless, I think some time is warranted to be excluded because primarily you can't try two cases at once. What if we set a start date for May 12th? I realize that's could potentially be a quick turnaround, but again, I don't think this case is going to take 6 weeks.
Your Honor.
We can adjust that as necessary.
I, again, am going to ask for a longer time. I believe this will go through the beginning of May, and to have the state try to get those witnesses lined up and subpoenaed while in trial, I don't believe is.
Well, if I push it out any further, the parties need to be aware that I won't be trying the case. I don't think I would be anyway. I'm rotating at the end of June. And given some of the trainings I have to attend in June, I don't think we can get it done.
Well, both parties could send out subpoenas now for that second date for May 12th, correct?
You can send out a subpoena anytime you're ready, Lori, you big
Well,
dummy.
that's assuming we're done by about May 1st, probably, in this case, the first case.
This is why Bindi is not a
No,
judge
Your Honor, I did indicate that the state needs to be.
or or a police officer or a detective or any of that, because that would require restraint, specifically verbal restraint, which, as you can see by my channel, I clearly do not have. And I would have told Lori where she could go a long time ago.
Did you hear her with the hot mic when the attorney said, with the actual attorney or whatever she said? She said, and I
Yes.
don't mean to be.
Yes.
That's funny.
And she said, what's the word she used?
Was
I
it
keep on-
persnickety, or was that a word you
No,
used?
it was,
It
yeah,
was demeaning or something.
yeah. I don't mean to be demeaning. Yeah.
And so I'm listening very closely, but it's hard to get to my mute button that fast. So sometimes I'm just not saying stuff. So just know I'm probably thinking what you're saying.
Where I'm having an outburst every 2.5 seconds. Par
Yeah,
for the
but that's
course.
okay. Just know I'm right there with you.
Derogatory, I think is what she said. Derogatory.
Oh, okay. Yep, I think you're right. That sounds
I
more
mean it
right.
derogatory, Lori.
Be dark in May, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
So
21.
hang on just a second. THX says, did I hear that correctly, that this judge will not be presiding over this case? No, what he said was the second trial, right? If they push it out further than May 12th, then he would not be presiding over that case because he has training or classes or something he has to do.
He said that he's alternating, in June. But listen, if
Mhm.
they do May 20th, what they're talking about now, she just said May 11th or 12th. What can she do? Does that mean she can file a lawsuit like that? Violated my rights, because it technically would be violating her rights, or
Yeah, but here's the thing, okay? She did not waive her right to a speedy trial, right? We know this. She never does because she's Lori, right? Because she thinks that in some way puts the state at a disadvantage. However, she's representing herself. That puts a little different spin on things. And the fact of the matter is that the rule 8.6 outweighs Lori's mouth over here, because it would be too much of a burden to expect her to try both cases at the same, at the same time. So no, I mean, she can do whatever she wants. Will she be successful? I don't think so.
okay. That's good, interesting, and good to know. I bet you she'll try, though, the way she's got that date ready to go. You know what I mean?
Of course
And
she
also,
does. Of course she
I
does.
need this judge to. He's handsome, Jen. I like him. I like looking at him. I like listening to him. We need this judge. Okay.
It's true. That's all. I cannot disagree there. I cannot disagree.
Thank you for making me feel better about
Penelope.
that.
Hello. Penelope says, making fun of Lori is good group therapy. I don't ever approve of such activity usually, but this is warranted. That's how I feel. Okay. Personally.
With the accent. It's so fancy.
Right? Personally, I would never approve of just, making fun of people, just generally speaking. But people of Lori's caliber, Chad's caliber, child killers, murderers in general, yeah, sure will. I'll make fun of them all day long and twice on Sunday.
Same. So welcome to the, glad you're here, part of the group.
You found your tribe. Welcome in. Here we go.
22, 23, correct.
Of May.
And I would need to be dark the 19th, 20th, and 21st as well, so.
So given that we would be dark that entire week anyways, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Let me speak with the criminal presiding judge about scheduling the second trial. We can discuss it on the 18th.
We're a party, Allie.
Let's keep the 18th, but let's move it to later in the morning. Actually, let's move it up. All we're going to do is discuss a couple matters, and then there's no reason for the fingerprinting and stuff to be broadcast or on video, so I'll prohibit that from being recorded or otherwise broadcast. So have your person here. Let's do that at 8.
Yeah, I don't really need to
15
see
a.m.
Lori be fingerprinted, palm printed, and foot
March
printed.
18th.
I'm good.
And then we'll also discuss whether the defense is disclosing Lonnie Dworkin as a witness and whether or not he has a expert report prepared and disclosed at that time. I will have the questionnaire for you by then, so you can review it. Anything else we need to discuss that I've forgotten about from the state's perspective?
Your Honor, I showed 2 other motions that the defense filed that I did not see rulings on by the court. They were both motions to dismiss. One of them only related to the 2022 case, I think. No, I'm sorry. Both of them related to both.
What's the filing date?
January 14th for one of them was an 8.2 speedy trial one. And February 4th, which was an extradition rule 8.3.
Look at Lori out here already to cite violations of speedy trial. It's your decision to represent yourself that delayed things. Why didn't you say you wanted to? Hold on, I don't. Hold on a minute. I don't want to be rude to the judge, so I'll mute him really quickly so we can hear everything he says. But let me just remind you, Lori, that your decision to represent yourself late in the game is what made there to be delays, because they have to make sure that you're competent, mentally competent, not only to stand trial, but also to represent yourself, that you've made this decision with a sound mind. Okay. And so that causes delays. All right. You're not the only person on the docket, lady. Here we go. Let me rewind it just a little bit.
Okay, so the motion to dismiss CR 2022-001242 for lack of speedy trial, I ruled on January 24th.
Okay.
That minute entry was filed January 24th. And then the motion, was that the motion to dismiss CR 2021 and 001704 and the other for violation of Speedy Trial Act?
Correct.
That was ruled on February 25th, so last week.
Okay.
A week ago. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defendant?
Yes.
No,
Your Honor, I have
Brian.
one kind of housekeeping.
I don't give a rat's fat kneecap, Lori Hush. Brian, the death penalty is not on the table.
Matter that I wanted to ask you about. I know that MCSO has some security restraints, the things that I have to wear during trial, and
I meant to
I wanted to ask about that as far as, am I going to be able to stand at the podium to talk to witnesses, to question my witnesses and to cross-examine? Or am I going to be able to move about with the leg thing and the shock vest and all that?
You're going to stick to your table and you can go to the podium. Okay.
She's going to be tethered and she can only go so far. Let me tell you how I would like for her to handle this trial. Frankly, I think that she should be put in a like glass case similar to Annabelle with an entire, warning outside of it, not to touch the glass, not to open the glass, not to touch her in any way, shape, or form for fear that the evil, like mold, will spread. That's how I'd like to see her conduct this trial, but they don't ask me these things.
When you're giving your opening statement and closing argument, you'll stay by the podium.
Okay.
And if you need to hand a witness an exhibit, your advisory council will do that.
Okay. Or my paralegal can do that too.
Well, is your paralegal going to be present here designated as your, I guess they can be present. I'd prefer advisory council to be the one that approaches witnesses if you need to hand an exhibit or something like that.
Okay, so I'm going to be standing there, and if she's sitting here, she's going to come get something from me and go walk it over to the witness and then come back?
Correct.
Just the logistics of it.
Look, Lori, there's many, many times in many courtrooms, we just watched this with Megan Boswell, where the lawyers never hand the witness anything. Guess who does? The bailiff. I don't understand why you need to get a visual. Is this part of your blueprinting? Get the...
There'll be a table or a cart here that'll have all the exhibits on it within reach of the podium. So.
Okay.
Anything else?
Your Honor, do you use case lines for exhibits?
No.
Thank you.
I think they're still working out the bugs on that. So.
Do we need to have our exhibits in place?
All right, we'll see you at 8:15 on March 18. Be at recess on this matter.
It's usually like
It's actually not, hold on. It's actually not a weird question, Brian. It's a good question. Brian says, dang it. Well, if she gets life, will she have to serve the first one, then the next, or just stay there? I'm sorry for such a weird question. It's not a weird question. And as soon as they're done with these proceedings, I'm going to answer that question for you. Just give me a sec, okay?
All right.
All right, so let me just answer this question really quickly. Hold on. Let me scroll. I have to scroll. I had scrolled already, but apparently when you move away from that, it resets your scroll. Who knows? All right, so the question, and this comes from Fox 10, and it was sent let me stop sharing this. Hold on. Let me go over where I am actually at. Let me share this tab instead. So this comes from Fox 10. This was sent to me by our fantastic friend to the channel, Call Me Sadie. So let's see. All right. If Vallow is found guilty of the crimes in Arizona, will she serve her time in Arizona or stay in Idaho? If she's convicted here, she would go back there and do the sentence there, Mitchell said. Would Lori's life sentence impact possible sentencing in Maricopa County? No, I mean victims deserve justice. One victim's justice is not recognizing another victim who suffered, who died, the attorney said. So yeah, she will go back to Idaho to serve her sentence. This is really about getting justice for the victims. Now I want to share this with you guys. So I Googled, can a spouse testify against a spouse in Arizona? Okay, here's the AI overview. No, A spouse cannot be forced to testify against their spouse in Arizona in most cases. This is due to Arizona's spousal privilege, which protects confidential marriage or marital communications. How does spousal privilege work? It prevents spouses from being forced to testify against each other in court. It also keeps private marital communications confidential. It applies to both civil and criminal proceedings. It can be invoked during or after the marriage. When does spousal privilege not apply? If the spouses are engaged in legal actions against each other, if one spouse initiates criminal proceedings against the other, if the spouses are in competency hearings, if the couple has divorced since one spouse was accused of a crime. So, in theory, if Chad filed for divorce, he could be compelled to testify against her. But also, that's a double-edged sword, because if he can be compelled to testify against Lori, then Lori can be compelled to testify against him. And Lori, there might be charges coming for Chad in Arizona. Exceptions to spousal privilege. If a spouse consents to disclosure of confidential communications, if a spouse chooses to testify voluntarily, if a judge orders a spouse to testify. So there are plenty of ways in which Chad could potentially be made to testify. And there's another thing that I wanted to. All right, Allie. I will not forget about that link in Messenger, babe. Thanks for coming up here. Everybody, please give my wonderful friend and co-host, co-panelist, a round of applause in the chat. Thank her for being here. I just saw the thing about Nate Eaton and I wanted to. Oh, I say that. Now, she's named Nate Eaton, and I'm kind of curious about how Nate feels about that. And I'll look into that for you guys. Now, I want to talk to you guys about scheduling. So tomorrow, we're going to be right back on track. We're going to start right in on day 5 with Todd Mullis, his post-conviction relief bench trial for ineffective assistance of counsel. And that is where we will be tomorrow. I also have some stuff coming up, but I don't want to say it right now because I'm not sure. I need to work out scheduling of this stuff. So don't worry if you guys are waiting to go over the Morgan Geyser's hearings for her conditional release in the Slenderman attempted murder case. We're still going to do that. I just want to finish up with Todd Mullis. And I got some other stuff I'm cooking up that we'll go over. So I'm going to let you guys go for today. Thank you all so very much for being here. Welcome to the new members. I appreciate all of you guys' support. If you haven't done so, do me a favor, give your girl a thumbs up, a thumbs down, whichever you feel I deserve on the stream. And until next time, I bid you a fond farewell and adieu. Bye.